The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to Season 3 and episode number 259 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. Yeah. Today, recording day is, thank God I'm fabulous, Friday, November 24th, 2023. And it's going to be a very beautiful day here at the Beaver Lodge. The sky is gorgeous, but it's a little chilly. It's one of the first days that we're starting a little bit below zero this year. So, I think we can say we are starting to transition from autumn to winter, even though winter is still about a month away officially. But I think it's the first day that we wake up below zero this year.
No,
For here.
no,
Here.
no, not this year.
Okay.
Well, think about it. January was this year.
Well, okay. Pedantic.
I'm not
This
wrong.
coming winter. All right.
Yes, there you go.
I'm
There you
your-
go. The season.
Yes, the season. I'm your host, the eager beaver pronouns he, him. Hey, Mr. Beaver, eh? And hey, kitties, eh? You looking good. And a big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. We have a whole bite for you today to enjoy, kids. So wrap your bibs around your neck. We're going to have some fun today. But before we do anything else, let's do the most important thing we do every morning on this show, which is say hello to you, Mr. Grizzly, and ask you how your mental health is doing today, sir.
Well, good morning, Mr. Beaver. I'm a little tired. You know that I wake up every day at 5, and usually I'll wake up to the alarm, and by 6 I crawl out of bed and then hop on the computer, get this stuff started, then take a shower once I get this all ready to go, and then come back in. Anyway, well, I stayed at Bridget's last night, and so I was out of bed at 10 after 5 and walked to the train, took the train to the Parliament station, then walked home from there. So I've already got a few thousand steps in today, so that's a good thing. But I think I'm going to be a little bit tired because it's an earlier when your routine gets thrown off, it messes you up, and that's kind of where I am right now.
I'm going to be tired because same thing, not as many hours, but unfortunately it wasn't because I didn't. I got to sleep and then couldn't stay asleep. There was so much work to do. We finally got the other computer fixed in the other room. I tested it out yesterday because yesterday afternoon I pre-recorded a show with Dean that will air at around 3 o'clock this afternoon. So if you're listening to this today, you might hear some things that are a little repetitive because we recorded that one earlier, but even though it's going to appear later in time than this show. And we touch on a few similar topics. So if you watch both, you might hear me repeat myself a little bit, but I'll try to make this one a little different.
So you've got the new computer operational and
yes,
the new mic and all the gear's good to go?
I have not tested the new mic yet because I've not gone live with it. So we will test that at some point, hopefully this weekend or something, see if it works. But before, we would turn the computer and it would go click, 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 boom, and then so it wouldn't even turn on. It turns on. I can actually type on it. I actually...
Was it a power supply issue or?
I have no idea. I no.
Hmm.
Well, actually, when it seems that maybe one of the RAM cards had gotten loose.
Oh, that can
Yeah.
happen.
So anyway, we'll see. We tested it over there, but we did not test it. I didn't know if we were going to be able to have to leave it there. And my Beaver sweetie said, "Well, you should bring the mic." And I says, "I don't think I want to bring a $500 mic and just leave it there." Turns out I should have brought the mic. So, and we got it back the same night. My Beaver sweetie set it all up,
Okay.
and that was really nice. But so it does work as a computer. I still don't know if it's podcast ready with the new software.
Well,
So that's why I came
we'll
here
see
this
if we
morning.
can give it a go.
Yeah, just to be sure that we can go live on time-ish. Um, let's see. Let's see, what else do we have? So yes, it was late night because um, some people were how do I put it? It warms the heart, but some people had sent us a message with a screenshot of our page, our Apple Podcast page. So the last show had been posted there 5 days ago. It's like, is it coming soon? It's like, yeah, yeah. Sorry, that's my fault because I was the one that was a little under the weather this week. Uh, but I got them all written last night. But I stayed up quite late to do that. So, but they are there, and Mr. Grizzly's getting them up, so they should be
Getting them
there.
posted today.
Yeah, they should be there today. And so, for all of you listening at home, again, I apologize for getting a couple of days or almost weeks worth of episodes out a little late, but
It happens.
yeah, it happens. And we thank you for your patience. All right. Yesterday was a day, a rather busy day uh, for me. Uh, and it's going to be a day here because Skippy did a press conference that was disastrous. Again,
Just brutal.
brutal. And there's the housing stuff that you asked me about earlier this week that I've got for you. Because I remember I promised I would bring that to you. And there was a little thing that happened with that convoy lawyer lady yesterday.
Eva.
Yes, turns out that not only is she a terrible lawyer, but if she were a witness, she on a stand, she would be a terrible witness too.
I missed that.
Incredibly disingenuous, and we're going to do that. But yesterday we had an exercise going on in somebody pointing out someone else's obvious racism gets you labeled racist
Imagine that.
because as we all know, the tried and true truth, nobody reacts more viciously or violently to being called a racist than an actual
Than a racist.
racist. For
Yeah,
some
funny
reason,
how that
they're
works out.
very, very touchy about being called what they are. And so are all the minions. Ooh, we had a block party yesterday. But that's
Oh, yeah.
great. Oh yeah, because you do that, and it's like the first thing just come, send you back something racist, racist. You're the racist. Oh my god, these liberals, all they see is racism. Like this is oh, thank you, block, 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 block. Thank you for self-identifying and self-deporting. Block, 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 block. um,
Yeah.
my finger's a little sore. It's kind
A lot of blocks,
yeah,
did you?
it's kind of stuck like this, but I'm sure that with some exercise, I'll be fine. Just up and down and up and down, and I should be back to myself in in regular time, because of course I might have spent a lot of time um, doing this, but with another finger yesterday as well. So
Mm,
little sign
flipping the bird, were you?
yeah, just but just privately, like I know I was doing it. They don't need to
Mm.
know. And now you
So
know.
shall we get to the clip that started it all?
Okay, now here's the thing. Yesterday, I stated when I saw the press conference start, um, this is going to be really good, and that I couldn't wait for question period. That is, if PP showed up. Well, PP
Which he
did not
didn't.
show up for question period. We had the former leader of the opposition, the one who is, as I mentioned, doing dishes at Restaurant chez Pierre for the next forever, I would
Yeah,
say,
probably.
to pay off his debt to the party. Also, because given that he lied about being an actual insurance salesman, it's not like he could actually do anything else. And he,
Well, and the one where they're like, he didn't lie about his citizenship. Nobody asked him. Why would we?
yes, why would we? Why would we have any reason to assume, right? It's just what a sad. But hey. Nice dimples, though.
Yeah, nice dimples.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes.
Michael Deatter captures him perfectly in caricature.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
His caricature of him is with that shit-eating grin and the eye.
Yeah.
It's his caricature is brilliant.
Yep.
Brilliant.
So it seems that after that disastrous moment in question period where he had a premature enunciation moment on terrorism, just blew his
Oh, you mean
load all over the benches.
you mean this one right here? On Thursday, he was asked at a press conference in Toronto
Oh, yeah.
whether he thought it was responsible to call the explosion terrorism when no U.S. or Canadian official had said it was. In response, Poilievre pointed to reporting by CTV News. CTV reported that the government of Canada was presuming that the incident was terrorist.
And that's what I said in my remarks. I said there are media reports,
Poilievre said. A back and forth transpired, the Canadian press reporter and Poilievre about the Conservative leader describing the situation as a terrorist attack or terrorism.
I didn't. I said they were media reports. What I said, and I was right, was that they were media reports of a terror-related event.
Poilievre said. CTV News reported, citing national security sources, that government officials were operating under the assumption that the incident at the Rainbow Bridge in Niagara Falls was terror-related. The breaking information was first reported on CTV News approximately 15 minutes after Poilievre rose in the House to ask Trudeau about media reports about a terrorist attack.
And that's, like I said,
fact-checked
by CTV.
Yes.
Conservative television, because the CNCTV is not Canadian, it's conservative.
Yeah.
Fact-checked him because he's destroying reputation. Do you have I have a feeling, maybe, just maybe, Don Martin might not be writing exclusively "Trudeau is insane" columns for the next little bit.
Yeah.
Because, again, as we said, the golden rule in conservative land is say and do what you want, be as awful as you want to be, but don't come and affect our money. And yesterday, in that press conference, PeePee did a lot of things. He did a lot of work, and it seems that he didn't care whether or not he was going to throw CTV under the bus or not.
Didn't care.
So CTV put out that fact check, and as I mentioned, when we're talking about the timestamps, say, well, because Jason Pugh, who's with us at Crier, he tends to cover question period and basically the going ons in politics like we do.
We should get him on the show.
Yeah, we
sometime.
should. He posted something to that effect, which we talked about yesterday. But he has a timestamp on that. But you have to remember that he had to write that little thing and then take time to post it. So when he posted it at 2:29, everything that he posted about happened before that. So that's why the gap is 15 minutes and not just like 9 or 10 or something. So a whole 15 minutes. At that point, the only people anywhere in the world that were talking about it as a terrorist attack was that source with Fox News. Unidentified, unseen source with Fox News. And the problem with PeePee, even though he's going back in time and saying, hey, I was right, it was me, and that was the only time he smiled in the entire press conferences when he turned around and go, I was right. And when he was sticking it to a female reporter yet again.
From
CP.
From CP.
Yet again. And you had some people online going, Norman Spector, of all people. The guy who was like Brian Mulroney's right-hand guy when he was prime minister. A guy of incredible intelligence, but for some reason has gone off the deep end over the last few years, saying that reporter should be identified. Because why? Because we want a doctor. Why not? Well, Mr. Spector, I mean, given that you are Mr. Mulroney's right-hand man, you should probably know that at every press conference, when a journalist asks a question, they say their name and their outlet. Then they ask a question.
Always.
So the reporter doesn't need to be identified because the reporter identified themselves before asking the question. But let's pretend there's some big conspiracy, a plot again, right? That we need to unmask this person who's working behind the scenes to embarrass Pierre Poilievre. The bullshit is eyebrow high tonight, kids. All right.
Yeah.
Now, you would assume that after lying to the entire nation,
Which he
yes,
did several
because
times.
so media reports say, so he can hide behind media reports. No, not media reports. You are saying,
Yes.
you are saying it's a terrorist attack, sir. You. Because that made your nipples hard. And you know when I said yesterday, like this, I wonder what the play was? Well, in this press conference, we figure out what the play was. And what happened is we learned that when we keep on saying that Skippy doesn't do very well when he doesn't have a script,
Mm-hmm.
it seems Skippy also does not know how to pivot. So when he
No.
made that comment in the House of Commons, right, it was to set up something to say that the Prime Minister is not doing what he needs to do to keep Canadians safe. I'm thinking, why is he going there? Well, it seems that the whole point of his press conference of yesterday was supposed to be making the case once again that the Prime Minister was not keeping us safe. So he was setting it up in the House the first day to be able to release what he calls his plan to keep Canadians safe. And then he got this gift with the car. He said, hey, let's do a 1-2 punch. He can't keep us safe from hopefully a brown guy with a Muslim sounding name, terrorist. Because he probably assumed still at that time came from the Canadian side of the border because that was the initial speculation. So a terrorist from Canada was trying to go to the United States, and well, that terrorist didn't quite get there. But what if he had done his thing here? What's the Prime Minister doing to keep us safe? And then he was going to follow up the next day with another way that the Prime Minister. Now, the first day didn't work for him. And rather than pulling back and say, hey, maybe I shouldn't do this, he went forward with it anyway. He still tried to make the case the next day that the Prime Minister was not doing what he needed to do to keep us safe. Problem is, and you will see it, dude looks and sounds like he spent the night on a clothesline, having Jenny Byrne whip him ferociously with a $5 bill. He looks and sounds horrible. Now, we're going to start playing this. We're going to show him coming in. And the first few words are in French. And not going to translate him because he's going to say the same thing in English later. But I want you to hear and see him. This is how terrible he looks. And I want you to remember that time when Trump did that little address on the front lawn before getting into that helicopter when we found out he was going to the hospital for COVID. And even though he wasn't promoting everything, he got over there and said, "Get me everything you got." And that's probably the only reason that motherfucker's still alive. Because even though he told everybody else, "Oh, don't do it," he went to get the juice for himself, though, eh? Oh, yeah.
He was on a huge cocktail of drugs.
It kind of reminded me of that when I watch him. I'm not saying he's got COVID, but he definitely did not sleep well the night before.
No, let me just put this on the screen here. Before I press play,
Yes.
I want to ask you a question, and I'm literally, I am not commenting. I am literally asking two questions. First one is Melissa Landsman's footwear.
Sneakers.
That's not proper decorum.
Not proper.
No,
but
for in the workplace,
yes.
it's right.
Yes.
She can wear whatever she wants.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I'm not picking on her for it. I'm just asking. I don't think that's proper.
Now,
is she wearing yoga pants?
Possibly. And as a member of the rainbow community, however, I am not the one that's going to make a comment about lesbians and sensible shoes.
No.
Okay,
no.
That's all I was saying.
And that's not where I'm going.
No, I know that.
You can wear.
There's usually a joke there. Usually.
But you could wear sensible shoes that are not sneakers, not running shoes, not trainers, joggers, whatever you want to call them.
Yes.
And I'm Jim, I'm not judging. I'm not. I'm just, it does not seem to be
I'm judging.
appropriate footwear in the workplace for the job she's
Right.
doing. That's all I'm
Right.
saying.
And it maybe because she had to get there super quick, because if you see who's on
I
the
don't
other
know.
side of him is
Oh, and
yeah,
Jim's taking umbrage with what I'm saying, and I'm not picking on her at all. I'm not. I don't care what she wears. She has every right to do whatever she wants. It's a free
okay.
country. She can wear what she wants in the
Oh, yeah.
workplace. I am asking if it's appropriate to wear it in the workplace. That's all.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
Yes. And your second question?
Oh, the second question was, is that yoga pants? I don't have a problem with that either.
Yep.
I love the yoga pants.
Now,
I want to say thank you to the individual who decided that yoga pants were pants you could wear every day, everywhere, all the time. Thank you to that person, because yoga pants are lovely.
I'm wearing them right now, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I'm wearing yoga pants right now. They make my behind look fabulous. And if you will see that there are two people there, one is Melissa Lantzman, the other is Roman Baber.
Yeah.
Now, Roman Baber is not an elected MP. He's just a nominee. And Roman Baber got kicked out of the former party he was in, and has been spending the last few years basically working his street corner on Twitter, trying to get PP's attention, hoping that he would have got a nomination in a safe seat. Well, he got a nomination, but not in a safe seat. So I guess he didn't kiss butt hard enough. So he's working double time here. These are the only two people he could get to stand with him. One, stock photo lady during the convoy, who kicked that all off, and then allows herself to be trotted out by her party to stand up and go, I can't be helping Nazis. I'm Jewish. While forgetting she's also lesbian, Jewish, and lesbian at the same time, which means in the days of Hitler, she would have been wearing a star and a triangle. Yes, but she takes offense on being Jewish, but not a lesbian. But then when stuff happens in Iran, then she trots out the lesbian card.
Yeah,
because
it's
remember, as we said, they are conservatives first, and all other identities are subjugated. She's the one,
including citizenship.
yes. So yes, so there is no reason she should be standing there, but it's also not a surprise, because if you're willing to stand up in the House of Commons and trade on your faith in order to say, I can't be possibly aiding and abetting racists and Nazis, while you are aiding and abetting racists and Nazis, and don't accuse me and don't accuse anybody in my party of it because I'm Jewish. That makes me immune. You're going to be willing to stand with PeePee when he falsely claims that there's a terrorist attack. And of all the other MPs, not one wanted to stand with them. But who did he get? Roman Baber, a guy that's so inherently dishonest that he got kicked out of his own party. I guess, and he got kicked out of his own party by the guy who we found out since might be leading the most financially, criminally corrupt government in Canadian history. And when Mr. Ted Hsu was here, he actually nodded his head, yes, that's probably true. Okay? So we're talking about only the best people here. Okay? So now, if you like Schadenfreude, this is going to be a little bit of a experience, because
I almost feel guilty because I enjoyed this so much.
I did. You know what? And the keyword almost. Keyword is almost, but I have to admit, I too almost felt guilty because this one's almost too easy.
Yeah. Now it's the lies that he spits in this towards the end of the. I almost threw my phone several times. I had to pause it because I was
He had
livid.
He has this coming though.
Oh, yeah.
He has this coming. He deserves everything he gets.
Well, right now, he's going to hide out for the next couple of weeks. We won't see his face today. I'd be shocked if he shows up anywhere today. Shocked.
Yep. Yeah, he's going to pull a Doug Ford. He's going to go to that same basement and into that same freezer where they stuffed Doug Ford during federal elections.
Mhm.
He's probably going to stay there for a while and say, let's hope it all blows over. Honey,
We ain't letting go of this.
your fake over blew over faster than this is going to blow over, darling. All right,
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Grizzly, please.
Merci beaucoup d'être venu, tout le monde. Après, je m'excuse, je devrais commencer en disant que je suis honoré d'avoir ici avec moi aujourd'hui Melissa Lanceman, l'honorable député de Thornhill et le chef adjoint du Parti conservateur de Gros Bon Sens, et Roman Baber, qui est notre candidat à York Center, ancien député provincial et avocat, un grand supporter des Raptors. Après 8 ans de Justin Trudeau, le Canada est plus dangereux.
Okay, we can stop it there.
Une augmentation.
Do you hear him?
Mm-hmm.
He can barely get 3 words out without having to take a.
Mm-hmm.
He's in rough shape.
And this is a question I'm asking because I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody please let me know if it is in poor taste to be holding a press conference in a synagogue. I don't know. I'm asking.
know.
I'm genuinely asking. I do not know.
Well, here's the thing. After falsely claiming that there was a terrorist attack and considering what it is he's come there to do,
Yeah.
whether or not it's bad taste to hold a press conference in a synagogue, it is definitely in bad taste to do in a synagogue what it is he's about to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bad taste to do it in a kitchen, so it's going to be extremely bad taste to do it in a place of worship. My personal opinion on there. All right. Now, unfortunately, Kits, our timestamps are a little off because when we had the original video, it was full 46 minutes, including about 20 minutes of just like filming the empty room. And then when we clicked in this morning, it seems that CPAC had edited back down to starting when he comes in the room. So I don't know where the English starts, and I'll give Mr. Grizzly a little bit of time to find that.
I thought it was interesting that, and just it's interesting to me that he chose to have us conference in a synagogue in Toronto and began in French. I mean, I don't have an issue with beginning in French. It's a bit of a surprise, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, he's doing the thing that Harper did, right? I mean, he's back down to 5 questions, like Harper did. Although I think yesterday he took a few more. But he's also doing the thing, starting everything in French. He does it in the House of Commons. 2-question period starts that's the thing that Harper said when he was trying to kiss up to Quebec, and Quebec said, yeah.
Well, he's trying to kiss up to Quebec about the separatist thing. He's done. He's finished.
Yeah, he's done.
Province.
But Harper tried to do that and saying, oh my God, he's always addressing in French. He's always starting in French, trying to show that deference to Quebec because all the symbolism does matter in Quebec. And but let's remember, kids, that Quebec was the only province in Canada that saw through Harper the entire time.
Yes,
right from day one. Because had we all just listened to Quebec, we never would have had a decade of Harper. They were trying to tell us, but we didn't listen. So, no, Dan, not 46 minutes of this dick, but probably longer than any of us really do want to have.
We'll switch it up and go to the English part where he begins this. And, sorry, just a comment from PNC Bio.
That huge French Jewish 416 905 community.
Oh boy. Okay, here we go.
Guy.
Oh, that's good. That's so good, right? Here we go.
That's sarcasm.
Okay. I didn't pause it like that intentionally, okay? It just, honest to goodness, I didn't do that intentionally. It just worked out that way.
Nous allons avancer comme conservateurs. Thank you very much, everyone. And now in English. I'm very honored to be joined today by the common sense conservative deputy leader and Member of Parliament for Thornhill, Melissa Lansman.
What is common sense conservative?
That does not exist. And obviously, it's a rebranding that he's trying
Mhm.
because he says it all
Mhm.
the time. Again, not sure how well that's going to work because the last time a conservative in Canada talked about common sense was Mike Harrison. People died at
Yes.
Walkerton.
Yeah.
Not sure that's the thing you want to be doing. But since, we're rebranding, I'd like to say that the CPC right now is the Canadian Putin caressing party. Since we're
It's not
rebranding.
far off from the truth.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, let's roll.
We have also common sense conservative candidate for York Centre, Roman Baber, former MPP, lawyer, and Raptors fan. Here we are gathered to
Pandering.
present a common sense plan to protect the freedom and security of Canadians in these times.
That's 3 times now, common sense. 3. We should, hey, common sense, drink.
Yeah, no, we'll get. If we do that with alcohol, we'll be drunk before the show is over.
It's Friday. Fuck it.
I still have to work today.
I'm in a really good mood.
I see that. Okay, let's roll.
After 8 years of Justin Trudeau, Canada is a more dangerous place. Hate crimes are up 150% after his economy has caused more desperation, his divisive, censorial
And
How
why?
economy cause hate crimes?
It can. Yeah,
Really?
if you're desperate. Yeah.
I know. If no, hang on. If you're desperate, you might do something criminal because you desperately need money to buy food to eat.
Yeah,
I get that.
You might choose your
But a hate crime? A hate crime? I think that's a bit of a stretch.
It's yes and no, but the thing is oh darn it, I forgot what he said. Something it skipped my mind now. So keep going. I had a comment.
Okay.
But yeah, I got thrown off.
policies have turned Canadian against Canadian, and his weak laws have allowed criminals and other violent operators to walk freely in our streets and terrorize their fellow citizens. So today, Conservatives present a common sense action plan to protect our people in these times. Our first proposal is we want the government to immediately ban the Iranian terrorist group, the IRGC.
Are you
This
still
is
on
the
that?
most sophisticated, well-financed terror group on planet Earth. It was behind coordinating the October 7th attacks in Israel. It coordinates with other terrorist groups like Hezbollah, which are criminalized in Canada. According to a recent Global News report, there are 700 regime and IRGC agents operating with impunity, using stolen money, terrorizing our Persian and Jewish populations, and putting Canadians at risk on our soil. I will add, this terrorist group fired a missile at a civilian aircraft, killing over 100 Canadians. This was almost 4 years ago. Can you imagine what kind of prime minister would allow a terrorist group to fire a missile at killing our people, and 4 years later he lets them legally operate in our country?
Okay, well,
with impunity. This is a
Time.
disgrace.
The Prime Minister allowed the IGRC to shoot down. They did that in Iran. And remember, what was the plane they shot down? I believe it was a Ukrainian airlines flight. So, pardon my language, but this motherfucker is in a synagogue blaming the Prime Minister for allowing the shooting down of the Ukrainian airlines plane days after his party voted against the expanded free trade deal that Ukraine asked for and negotiated. But now he cares about.
Well, and he keeps.
There is no death he will not exploit. There is no death he will not exploit. All those dead people, murdered people, assassinated people that he claims to care about are nothing but inanimate objects with which he can use to bash the prime minister over the head, just like Jody Wilson-Raybould was. He didn't care about the fact she was Indigenous. He cared about the fact that they had a spat, and then he traded on her indigeneity to bash the prime minister over the head. The former MP, Selena Chavanez, who had an argument with the prime minister and left. He doesn't care about black people. We know he doesn't because he's got Leslie Lewis in his cabinet that's doing the exact same thing as Melissa Lantsman. Leslie Lewis had brunch with a frickin' Nazi. And every time Jenny Byrne or Sarah Fisher circulates, or Andrew Scheer, those blackface photos, she says nothing.
Nothing.
She says nothing. They don't care about black people. They only care about black people if they can use it to bash women. Feminism? Oh, he's not a real feminist. They only care about women if they can bash them over the head because this party doesn't even believe in pay equity. Right? Every time they exploit people, it's only to use them as a cudgel. And Muslims, remember when they were showing us images of ISIS throwing gay people off buildings? Oh my God, so terrible. Well, in that by-election in Manitoba, he distributed leaflets saying that Maxime Bernier was terrible for having marching in Pride.
Yeah.
When Harper sent them. And then he went to campaign for Brandon Leslie, who's for conversion therapy. And Garnet Genuis is still on those damn benches, and he believes in conversion therapy. And Melissa Lantsman sits right next to them, right next to their leader that says he did not read the T-shirt. All these people they say they care about, literally, they view them as inanimate objects, not even human. All of them are baseball bats, cudgels, hockey sticks, whatever you can call as a weapon with which to hit the prime minister, liberals, progressives, woke people over the head. They do not care about you.
Not one bit. Not
And
one
now,
iota.
yes, he exploited the death of a 14-year-old recently to claim that the prime minister was flooding the street with drugs, giving free drugs to people so that they can sell them to kids. And then exploited the deaths of those 2 Americans that were coming here to watch a Kiss concert. And then they turned around because there was going to be no concert because of the weather, and then they went to a casino. He's exploiting their death as well.
He doesn't care.
He's a horrible, horrible human being. Nothing pisses me off more than that kind of stuff. You do not exploit the tragedy of others. And he does it relentlessly. Mr. Grizzly, please.
1 second, sir.
And it is time that Justin Trudeau stood up to defend our people against these IRGC murderers and terrorists by banning them today. And we should work to kick out every single regime, agent, or terrorist that is operating in this country, of which 700 have been identified. Second, we need to establish a foreign influence registry, something the government promised it would do back in June. We have multiple Beijing-controlled police stations harassing the Chinese population in Canada. We have, as I said, 700 Iranian regime agents harassing Persian and Jewish Canadians. And countless others may be operating as well. We want a foreign agent registry, which requires that the government, that anyone who works for a foreign dictatorship register, have their names publicized and exposed.
All right, let's stop that.
Third, the United Kingdom has...
Okay. He can't even get the words out.
No.
He can't even get the words out. And that's the maximum enthusiasm. It's listless. It's completely listless. There's no passion. He's literally phoning it in here. It's terrible. Exactly. Kitsasi, so full of shit, he can't speak properly. Now, we've already talked on this show about the IGRC. He's still on this, Let's remember the fact that it was in 2009 that Liberal MP Mark Holland, who's still in the House right now, and I do not know why he's not getting up and saying, "Biatch, are you you really going there?" Pierre Poilievre was told in 2009, put the IGRC on the terrorist watch list. And the Harpy Pecans didn't do it. Why? We already told you on the show. Because the IGRC is pretty much like mandatory military service. Almost everybody has to do it. And if we had to have such a program, when it would be unwieldy, we couldn't possibly do it. And it would be yet another big, bloated, costly, conservative program. And they don't believe in that. So it can't be done. They know it can't be done because it was asked of them. And he's still trying. He is still trying to get the government to take an action that will bring Iran into this war. So he's in a synagogue claiming that he cares about Jewish people, while at the same time trying to create an international incident that would send Iran, one of the three poles into the region, into Israel to kill more Jewish people. And he's doing it in a synagogue with a Jewish person on his side. Imagine him as prime minister.
No, I can't.
If he's willing to do that as leader of opposition, you know those Club Med commercials? This is 30 seconds or 2 minutes. Imagine a whole 2 weeks. A man who can do that, who's doing what he's doing right now. Ugh. Mr. Grizzly.
1 sec, sir.
Dan, he's like that piece of spaghetti you throw against the wall to see if it sticks, and now he's sliding down the wall.
Said that Canada is the likely spot for a terrorist attack. Now, Canada's government says that there's only a medium risk. Well, the Prime Minister said the other day that there has been a terrorist attack on our people. There was a terrorist attack there are multiple terrorist attacks against synagogues and schools in Montreal, according to the Prime Minister, while he says the risk level is only medium. We also have terrorist attacks that happened against innocent Muslims in Quebec City and in London, Ontario, and we've had churches burned down. We need to have a review of Canada's assessment of the risk of an attack in this country. Fourth, we need to remove red tape from...
Now, this guy, he's literally in a synagogue claiming right now, in that moment, that he stands against Islamophobia. After everything that he has done, after being so far in on this particular edition of what's going on between Israel and Hamas, so completely far in for Israel, sitting there claiming that the people about whom he decided 911 wasn't enough, they needed a snitch line. And remember when we had the immigration thing with the niqab? Now, I don't claim to understand why does someone would want to wear a niqab. But I know in Canada, if someone wants to wear a niqab, they want to be that devout, they should have that right. And the fact that I don't understand it, and it confuses me, doesn't mean I need to fear it or hate it.
This is true.
And Mr. Grizzly, if you will put up the image I showed,
1 second.
I sent you, Jeff Ballingall, or Balling et al., who we know has very, very, very big behind-the-scenes links with this party, posted this the other day.
Noel Narwhal, good follow on the Twitter, or
Yes,
X
recommended
if you
follow.
want to call it. Saving this tweet from Pierre Poilievre's campaign manager, Jeff Ballingall, wherein he's gleefully sharing notes written on bombs that are being dropped on children for later. My friend visiting the Israeli front lines just sent me this. I hope Hamas enjoys this message from Toronto.
Somebody wrote from Toronto with love. Now, I don't know if that's doctored to put that on, a
I don't
picture
know.
that was actually written on the bomb. But his campaign manager, on the same damn day that he is in a synagogue claiming that, the Jewish people, also Islamophobia, Jewish people. His campaign manager is posting pictures on Shitter
Mm-hmm.
of bombs sent into Gaza where innocent civilians are being killed and exterminated with love from Toronto and loving it. And we are supposed to expect to believe that this guy cares about Muslim people. And remember when the summer when all those Muslim people,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Bahira and friends, were protesting all those schools, and they were saying, hey, we love our allies. We love our allies. Where are they now, eh? The millisecond that thing happened in Israel, they cut all their Muslim allies that they were using to oppress trans people and gay people. Oh, you're not our friends anymore, all of a sudden. They use people.
Okay.
He's claiming virtue on Islamophobia because he still wants to win that 905 while his campaign manager is posting those types of images. That's why I'm saying what he's doing in that synagogue, another reason.
Mm-hmm.
So if this guy is as PBCC as he is, there is a special place in hell. There's an extra warm spot place in hell for this man.
Oh, yeah.
And when he's talking about all those violence and hate crimes going up 150%, that was the point I was going to make. Why are they going up? 150? Maybe it's because people like you keep on fanning those flames of intolerance and hatred. You supported the convoy. There's a whole section of that. I'm not going to say all of it, but there's a whole section of that was inherently racist. A whole section of that was inherently racist.
Yeah,
Come on, dude.
Earlier this morning, while I was, looking around the internet for stuff to add to our show, for some stuff that we can comment on, I came across the thing that I showed earlier. This, let me see, where was it here? The CTV saying, he said this 15 minutes before we reported it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I put this, I tweeted him directly. Well, Pierre Poilievre, care to comment? Or will you try to lie your way out of this too? We'll wait for a response from you or your party for your irresponsible behavior in our house.
Mm-hmm. In the middle of our street. Sorry, could resist. Sorry.
Good. No, that's good.
It's a heavy show, so I'm going to throw in some levity. Some people might find it inappropriate given the subject matter, but this is way too heavy. So, All right, Mr. Grizzly.
Just a sec. I'll just get back to where the clip is. There it is. Look for it. Sometimes, things can move around on you when you're least expecting it.
Security infrastructure program which protects places of worship and other community centers from attacks. That means quickly approving funding to protect our people. There's one mosque I visited where their people were mowed down by a car, and now by a terrorist who came onto their property. They've been waiting 2 years to get protection for their place of worship, but the whole application is stuck in more red tape and bureaucracy. We want to streamline it so that all places of worship, synagogues, mosques, temples, gurdwaras, churches, can protect themselves against future attacks. And finally, we want to create a task force against anti-hate violence that would coordinate federal intelligence and law enforcement with local police. The risk we have is that
we already have that.
Mm-hmm.
Hate crimes are illegal. And there are restrictions on freedom of expression for a reason. The charter was written that way specifically for that reason. So he's just piling more shit on top of here. So this guy who's all anti-big government, anti-red tape, wants to add red tape to a program that already has existed for 43 plus years. Please explain that to me, because I don't get it.
I can't.
Federal intelligence bureaucracies in Ottawa may be aware of a potential risk, and if they don't tell the local police of where that risk could manifest itself, the attack could happen before anyone has a chance to prevent it. We want one coordinated task force that will bring together law enforcement at all three levels of government to share intelligence, interrupt attacks, and protect our people. This is a common sense plan to keep all of our people safe. After terrorist attacks against synagogues and schools in Montreal, against innocent Muslims in Quebec City and London, harassment of other communities of faith across this country, including burning down of churches. Enough is enough. We need a common sense government.
Then here's my suggestion. Stop ginning up and rage farming your fucking base, you fucking piece of shit human being. He's part of the problem, but he'll never admit it.
Yep.
That will protect all of our people, something that our Prime Minister has failed to do after 8 long years. We live in a much more dangerous country where crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder are common in our streets, where people are afraid to live. This is the necessary consequence of Justin Trudeau's bad decisions. He is not worth the crime, not worth the chaos, not worth the danger. It's time for a common sense, conservative government that will protect our people. Thank you, and I welcome your questions.
We'll now have some time for questions from the floor.
Yes.
I'm Mr. Poilievre,
Yes.
Levan from Rebel News.
Of course.
You mentioned certain things that rise to the level of a crime, but there are many things that aren't quite at that level. For example, people marching, calling for an intifada, or using language that may not rise to the level of a criminal prosecution. And you've said before that you respect freedom of speech, even for odious views. But what about people who are not Canadian citizens, who are foreign nationals, perhaps here on a student visa to go to our schools, and instead of studying at university, they're participating in these hate marches, intimidating people, Jewish restaurants, calling for the death of Jews. Again, not criminal level, but these are foreign nationals. Would you support canceling the visas and deporting foreign nationals who, instead of doing what they came here to do, are spreading hate at these pro-Hamas rallies?
Okay, we can stop that there.
Thank you for your question.
And you can fast forward to the next question because we don't need his answer there. It's the question that mattered there. Ezra Levant planting the seeds. Say, we need to get rid of certain people out of this country. If they're protesting and they're not Canadian citizens, kick them out. Let's start with the students. Now, PeePee answers like this, and he gives the basic boilerplate answer. But this question was presented to be so extreme so that PeePee can answer, well, people have a right to protest and all that kind of stuff, and I support the free speech, like this. But if somebody is here and is breaking the law, well, as the law already provides, we can send them home. So he doesn't say anything controversial. This is it was an opportunity to give him an opportunity for him to say the actual answer. But the problem is that with everything that just came before and everything that he's done, that's what adds the color and texture to the answer. It's just not credible. Yes. But Pierre actually doesn't say anything controversial in that answer. He just gives the same answer that Justin Trudeau would probably give in this case, but just coming out of his mouth. Yes. In this case, it was the question that was the red meat to the base, not the answer. Right. I don't know if you've got the second one set up.
Yep.
Okay, so now we get to the second question. All right. This is about
Here we go.
in the free
We're just
trade.
going to jump to the next question.
Hi there, Rob Ford from Global News. Can you explain why the Conservative Party voted against the new Ukraine-Canada free trade agreement?
We didn't vote against a free trade agreement.
Yes, you did.
We brought in the free trade agreement. We
Irrelevant.
voted against Justin Trudeau.
Fucking
We
God,
brought
I
in the
can't-
other one, so we didn't vote against this one. No, you brought in the
can't
other
tell the
one.
truth.
Ukraine wanted to build upon it, and you said no. That's what happened. The fact that you voted for the first one because you are the ones who brought it in is irrelevant. If you were in a court of law, irrelevant and immaterial, Your Honor.
Mhm.
That would be the objection.
Here we go.
Trudeau forcing a carbon tax into that pre-existing agreement.
No, that's not actually true.
That's not true.
Not true at all. It's a big line of bullshit. And
Yep.
by the way, there is to become a member of the European Union and to join NATO, there is a carbon regulatory plan that has to be part of your entry into that organization,
Absolutely.
either the European Union or into NATO.
Yeah,
It's
and
a given.
Yeah, and one of the journalists will sort of refer to that. But here's the thing again, right? He's claiming that they didn't vote against an expanded free trade deal requested by Ukraine because the PM wants to impose a national carbon tax there, even though Ukraine has never objected to it
And they already
because
have a
it
plan.
had one. Ukraine has had a national carbon tax since 2012, which is 6 years before we did. And the Ukraine
Mhm.
is already, not the Ukraine is already on record with the EU because it's trying to gain membership there as being open and willing to do more to meet the EU standard.
Mhm.
But this father mucker, I'm going to try not to swear as much as I can.
I know. I've been trying to curb it as well, but
I
some
know.
days you just can't.
This father mucker is out there claiming that the prime minister really, really, really wants to impose that carbon tax all around the world, even though Ukraine is quite fine with it. Absolutely quite fine with it. So again, in a nation that is being invaded, another nation just came in and said, you know what? We're taking this. This is ours now. Right? And it's fighting for basic democracy and territorial sovereignty. Now, we're Canada. Above us is Russia. And below us for 4 years, we had traitorous United States of America.
Mhm.
We were the meat in an authoritarian sandwich. And it's not like our battalion of wild boars are going to save us. If there's one person who should be caring about territorial sovereignty, it is the person or the people who aspire to be prime minister of this nation.
Mhm.
But for him, because again, all other identities are subjugated to being conservative, and conservatives don't like carbon tax. Territorial sovereignty and fighting for fundamental democracy comes second at best to stopping the woke leader Trudeau from imposing a woke carbon tax. He just sold all Ukrainians down the river.
Oh yeah.
Right? Let's keep going.
Okie dokie.
Conservatives understand how devastating the carbon tax has been for Canadians. It's caused 2 million people to go to a food bank every single month.
That
7
is
million
bullshit.
Canadians not eating enough to stay healthy. We never had these problems before Justin Trudeau and his costly carbon tax. Now he wants to quadruple the tax. And just to show you how pathologically obsessed Trudeau is with his tax, he did something that has never been done in the history of trade agreements, which is to put a carbon tax in one.
He didn't.
People of Ukraine
He didn't. But
A
here's the thing.
bald-faced lie.
Right. So, and this is what Andrew Scheer did. That was the first question period. They are trying to frame this as the prime minister taking advantage of the fact that Ukraine is on its knees, saying, please don't let the Russians kill us. Say, okay, fine. But first, do us a favor, though. He's literally saying that. Trudeau is saying, but first, do us a favor, though. Impose on yourselves a carbon tax. Impose on yourselves my carbon tax. This is not happening. It's not happening. The only place this is happening is in this guy's brain, in this guy's mind, which clearly is the greatest prison.
Mm.
Keep going.
Okay. Let's go back to the let's go back to the tape.
Are now going to, he expects them to rebuild from a war with a devastating and crippling tax on their energy. The Ukrainian farmers, he expects them to pay a carbon tax while they're trying to feed their hungry people. This is cruel, and frankly, it is disgusting that Trudeau's ideological obsession with taxing working class people, seniors, and suffering families has come ahead of what should have been a free trade agreement.
Okay.
Thank you.
And okay,
Next question.
stop it. And remember, in that answer, he is pretending that the carbon tax alone is what has sent 2 million Canadians to the food bank, and that people were not going to food banks before.
No. Never happened before. Never in history. No. It's a brand new thing. Brand new thing. And it's all because of Justin Trudeau's inflation. Just inflation.
No, just carbon
You know,
tax.
the,
Not even
right.
inflation.
In this
Only
case, it's
carbon tax.
just the carbon tax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
0.15% it adds to inflation a year. 0.15%. The governor of the bank
barely
said it
registers.
was negligible.
Yes, it is negligible.
But that's the thing.
Even on somebody who is poor or working class, it's negligible.
Not rents, not changes in interest rates, not global inflation, not the fact that people have not been paying people what they're worth for about 40 years.
Yeah.
The carbon tax. That's what's sending people to food banks. All right. Question 3. And check this. Look, this is the one where the reporter is going to ask about what he did in the house the day before.
Yeah, watch his face.
And watch when she says the word terrorism. Watch his throat. Watch where he's going to gulp. Exactly,
Yeah,
on the
several
word terrorism.
times,
When it's CP, you see the look on his face. And then when she says terrorism, I say, oh God, here we go. There's the question. You can see him gulp right when she says terrorism. It's almost Pavlovian.
Hi, Paula Loregio with the Canadian Press. Et si vous pouviez répondre dans les deux langues officielles, je l'apprécierais beaucoup. Do you think it was responsible for you to call yesterday's explosion by the by the checkpoint at the Rainbow Bridge terrorism when no U.S. or Canadian officials said that was or authorities said that was the case, and when the New York governor also said there was no evidence to suggest terrorism activity?
Actually, you're wrong. Are you a CP? Okay, so CP, by the way, CP, just for everyone's knowledge, did have to make 3 corrections for falsehoods that they put into a single article. I think that might be unprecedented. I'm actually thinking about checking with the Guinness Book of World Records to see if there's ever been a news agency that has had to issue 3 corrections for patent falsehoods that they admit they had been made in one single article, and now you've made yet another falsehood in your question. Where you are wrong is that CTV reported that the government of Canada was presuming that the incident was terrorist. So, yeah, that's what I said in my remarks. You're right. It was a media report.
But it's citing media reports and not.
Which is what I said. In the House, I said there are media reports.
And you think that's a responsible thing to go on? To make that kind of a statement at the time without speaking?
What kind of statement?
Calling something terrorist?
I didn't. I said there were media reports.
That's the distinction we're making?
No, there's no distinction. What I said, and I was right, was that there were media reports of a terror-related event. By your admission, there were media reports of a terror-related event. And that media report, according to CTV, unless you're questioning their integrity now, came from security officials in the Trudeau government. So do you think the CTV was irresponsible in putting out that tweet?
Do you think it was responsible?
Sorry, I'm asking, and I've already answered that. Do you think CTV was irresponsible to put that tweet out? Well, you just did comment.
Okay.
So, I just hope you're not going to print something that you have to apologize for again.
Okay.
Okay. Stop there. I wanted to play that through. I asked Mr. Grizzly to play it through without interruption so you could have the full impact. You know, when you do something wrong and you get caught and you need to find an explanation, so you find an after the fact justification for why it is you did what you did. That's when that little game I like to play. For this to be true, what also must necessarily be true? Now, Harry says that he said it was media reports. And when you look at the question in House of Commons, he does say media reports say that there was a terrorist attack. Media reports never said that there was a terrorist attack that was confirmed. We suspect it's a terrorist attack, or the police haven't yet ruled out that it's a terrorist attack, or we are investigating under the assumption that it could be a terrorist attack. But all of those are different from there has been a terrorist attack. When the government says that we are working under the assumption, it means that we do not have enough information to either confirm or deny that it is a terrorist attack, and therefore we are going to investigate as if it could be the worst possible thing until we rule that out. And then we will go to the next worst possible thing, and then the next worst possible thing, and the next worst possible thing. And it turns out that it was just some type of accident. Now, I don't know. Maybe they went to the gambling facility and lost a lot of money.
Mm.
Maybe, again, there was a stroke or a heart attack. Maybe somebody fell asleep at the wheel. But witness reports say that this car was speeding up and then tried to swerve. If it was a terrorist attack, they were just drove right into the cars right in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then hit a curb, went airborne, landed, I guess, in a field area or something, but not actually on the highway, and exploded. 2 people died.
It was a Bentley.
Yes,
it was a Bentley.
It was a Bentley. So right now, rather being more concerned for the 2 people who died, I think that Pierre Poilievre is actually upset that a $300,000 Bentley lost its life. For him, that's the tragedy.
Yeah. Seriously, yeah.
Seriously. Oh, the poor Bentley. We hardly knew it. Bentley was such a good guy. Such comfortable, soft leather seats. So nice on my bony tushy.
Every time I want to address Jillian's comment here, where's your security clearance, PeePee? Every time I encounter somebody online, he has clearance. Yes, he does have clearance. Otherwise, he couldn't be in the help. Exactly. He doesn't have NISI cop clearance, and that's what he needs. And he refuses to get it.
And there
he
are
refuses
levels
to get NISI
cop too.
Pardon?
There are levels above NISI cop as well.
Yeah,
security
cosmic.
Yeah. So, this guy. So then he starts arguing with her. You notice he's smiling again, eh? I was right. I said it was media reports. Media reports. No, not reports. Media report. 1. Because CTV would have been the second one. And they say, hey, whoa, buddy. We didn't do this until like 15 minutes after you actually said it. So don't blame us. So not media reports. Media report. From Fox, based on a source with Fox News. How much you want to bet that just like Trump, in his office, he's got Fox on 24/7.
24/7. Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Just like Trump. Then he gets into it with her. And then he does the abuser talk thing.
Mm-hmm. Of course he does.
Oh my God, we need to call the Guinness Book of World Records 3 retracted. When stories like this come out, the reason why you don't react to media reports, the reason why you do not stand in the House and say, based on media reports, rather than based on the latest update from Homeland Security, or the FBI, or the Buffalo Police, but from a source with Fox. media reports. That's why you don't do it as a leader of a nation, because you're investigating. You're to know the story. And in the early moments of a story like this, a terrorist attack, a plane crash, a train derailment, you don't have all the facts. So the word possible, had he stood up in the House and said, we heard media reports of a potential or possible terrorist attack, this would have been a problem for him. Because at the time, we didn't know, and there was speculation that the vehicle had come from the Canadian side of the border. All he had to do was say potential or possible.
Or allegedly.
But he,
Couldn't do it.
his
He wanted this to be a terrorist attack so badly.
yes, he did.
He did.
And that should scare you.
Yeah. He wanted it so badly so he could do this press conference, say, look what we're going to do to make you safe.
Yesterday that happened, and today, and look at all the other things, because he still went with the script. Look at all the things the Prime Minister did or did not do to keep you safe. He thought that he had received a Christmas present. That the good Lord, the good PBCC God had smiled down on him and sent him a present, and he ran with it. Impulsive, irresponsible, knee-jerk. If there's an actual terrorist attack, that's not what you want leading the nation.
God, no. No.
He literally, his Prime Minister, had he acted on that, he would have created an international incident with our most trusted ally and biggest trading partner.
Yeah, how's that going to look?
What the hell is wrong with you, man? Seriously.
Well, he's got to have a reason to blame Justin Trudeau for
Somebody
something.
grab him by the shoulders and give him a shake. Rattle a few things in there. What the hell's wrong with you, man? So then, abuser talk. Oh, what do you, CTV News? Do you have a problem with CTV News? Are you questioning CTV News' integrity? Again, kids, Canadian Press is our national press wire. This is the organization that reports just the facts and doesn't editorialize.
Yeah, just facts.
Everybody else does that. Every single news outlet with its salt that has big enough scope and can afford pulls from Canadian Press. Canadian Press doesn't have a problem with CTV. And CTV most certainly does not have problems with Canadian Press. And then he's talking about 3 retractions. Are they 3 retractions, or this is what we had now, and now we have confirmation of something else, so we are correcting our copy? Because that is different than 3 falsehoods. And let's remember that the whole reason this question is being asked is because he stood up in the House with parliamentary privilege, of which he abused.
Again.
And deliberately stated falsehood. So the guy who's being asked a question about his own falsehood is pretending that he has problems with people pushing falsehoods. It is like 5D level bullshit and abusiveness and gaslighting. We keep on saying, don't vote for people who tell you to your face, I think you're stupid and I don't think you're going to check, so I'm just going to say whatever I want.
He's relying upon that, though. That's his strategy.
And send me
It's his strategy, though.
Yes.
He'll lie to your face and think you're too stupid to actually fact check him.
And if you do, then he flips the script.
Because he's a bully.
He starts asking.
He's a bully.
Questions. Yeah. He's a this is total abuser behavior. Total abuser.
That's what it is, though. I mean, there's no 2 ways about it. It's abuser behavior.
Now, this journalist did something really, really smart. Really smart. Because you know how he ended it? Well, I hope you won't have to do anything else. You have to. there was twice in that whole exchange where he said something to her, and she said nothing. She left dead air. So he had to talk again to fill the space. What he does is he flips it, then asks you the question fast, so then you try to answer, and then he jumps on something else and answers, and then all of a sudden you get in a loop. All you have to do when he does something stupid like that is just give him an unimpressed face, cock your head a little bit, look at him and go, really? And say nothing.
Seriously.
Yeah.
You're going to say that to me?
Yeah.
Really?
And say nothing.
That's when I'd start to be like, I'm really losing my patience with you. You got to start answering questions. And if you don't start answering questions, I'm going to have to leave. And I know that's what you want. But here's the thing. I'm not going to leave. I'm going to ask you another question. And when you come back to me with some bullshit answer, I'm going to show you the facts right here on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
That's what needs to take place.
Yeah. So she stood there and said nothing on 2 occasions. Said,
I thought it was a thing of beauty.
You speak first. Pierre, you speak first. You tell us what your next lie is. That was a brilliant move from that journalist.
I thought so.
Because, he shut it down. Well, I hope you know.
She's smarter than him.
It deflated him.
Yeah.
It deflated him. Journalists.
Well, I think he knows his days are numbered and that he'll never be prime minister. I think he knows it in his bones. I'm serious. I'm not joking when I say that. I think he knows it.
Yeah, I think he knows it now. And here's which is probably why he was so sad coming in. Now, here's the thing that really, really surprised me, because after that exchange with that, I wondered after that thing in the House of Commons, Don Martin, T-Rex Murphy, Andrew Coyne, John Ivison, Brian Lilly, Lori Goldstein. Is this the time that you will say something, or will you give him a free pass yet again? Well, we have John Ivison. Kind of surprised me. Put it up. What did John Ivison have to say?
He could lose this thing yet if he keeps behaving like this. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. Caught on camera. Pierre Poilievre, CP reporter for falsehood. He could lose this thing yet if he keeps behaving like this. He will, and he will. You can count on it.
Mm-hmm. So you have all the minions grabbing that clip. Said, Pierre Poilievre destroys CP reporter for saying a falsehood. What falsehood was in her question? She asked him, do you think it was responsible to say that it was a terrorist attack before you had received confirmation from any authority? Where's the falsehood in her question? She asked if it was responsible. And then says, well, you're wrong. And then he proceeds to mansplain to her how it is she is wrong when she is dead on right. And that's the only time in that press conference, other than when he said at the beginning, Raptors fan and kind of stuff, that he actually smiled. You saw the momentum shift right there where he went from to, oh, this is my familiar territory. This I know how to do. Until she, well, I hope you don't going to have to publish something else that you have to retract. So there, your duty head. Fucking petulant child.
Oh, shall we keep rolling?
Keep rolling.
La presse canadienne a dû déjà
yeah, we can fast forward actually because she asked him to respond. No, I forgot that. She asked him to respond in English and in French. So, and he this time Pierre doesn't do a deux langues du discours. He doesn't say something slightly different in French for the Quebec audience that he has in English. He actually responded it the same way, but a whole lot less intensity, because in the French, obviously, he doesn't have the back and forth exchange with her. Right? He doesn't do it again. CP, vous êtes CP? Hein? Ah, ben, laissez-moi vous raconter quelque chose à propos de CP. he doesn't have the chops to do that in French, and maybe the journalist would not have been able to engage anyway. So in French, everything that he just did there didn't work and didn't happen. So fortunately, our brothers and sisters in Quebec didn't have to be exposed to that level of bullshit.
Thank goodness. Okay, here, I got it queued up.
C'est ça mon commentaire. I should also add, I think CP does work for CTV. So this is very awkward now, where we have CP attacking someone that they do work for. CTV is a client of CP.
All
and
major
now we
media
have
are.
CP attacking CTV's reporting. Now, this is a very awkward issue. I don't know if there's a way that the two news agencies can sort that out. Thank you.
Are you fucking
Next
kidding
question.
me right now?
Lila Sayre, Canadian Jewish News. You spoke about the demonstrations and freedom of speech, but we've seen multiple large demonstrations in Toronto and Montreal, certainly that are quite frightening for the community. Would you take any action against these large demonstrations?
Okay, we can stop that one there.
People have the right to demonstrate as long as they do so.
Because that's a similar question to the first one from Ezra Levant.
Mm-hmm.
He gives the standard boilerplate answer there, right? But there, the point of that question is to say that for a certain group of people, the one that he's pandering to, these protests are scary. Now, I'm not going to deny that. And I'm not going to comment negatively on that, because I'm sure there are some people for whom that is the case, considering what happened. Because the question was fair from that perspective, and his response was fair. Again, the same boilerplate things. Well, people have protest, and there he said the right thing. But again, like the first question, and like when he's talking about he's standing against Islamophobia, out of that mouth, considering what he is there to do and considering what he did the day before, it's the right answer is not credible from him.
No, not at all.
It just isn't. It just isn't. This guy's exhausting. He
I got
really
the next one
is.
queued.
It's
Okay,
the
here we go.
bullshit per second rate is just.
It's just, yeah, you understand when I was watching this, I had to put my phone down and walk away a couple of times because I was angry. Okay, here we go. This is the next question.
Next question.
CBC, if you could in English and French. Just going back to the carbon question.
Yes.
The deal refers to promoting carbon pricing, and it's something that Ukraine has already, or something Ukraine's already offered to do in their talks with the EU. So is that a fair thing for the government to ask of Ukraine?
No, it's not. There's no reason to promote a carbon tax for Ukrainians or for Canadians. The carbon tax is crippling our people. It's driving up the cost of food, gas, and groceries.
Yada, yada, yada.
It's driven a record-smashing 2 million Canadians to the food bank. Now Trudeau wants to
Same talking
quadruple the
points
carbon
over and
tax
over again.
No, yeah,
on your
we can
food, gas, and
skip
groceries.
over.
This is going
None of
to
that answers
shortchange
about
the
Ukraine.
No.
None of that answers about Ukraine. None of that answers about the fact that
And
Ukraine
top
has actually offered to the EU as part of the membership. Says, yeah, we're okay with that. We're willing to do that.
Well, it's a requirement.
It's
And
a
they're like, yeah, no problem. We're on board.
So, and you notice when the journalist pointed to the fact that it's not the deal, as Pierre just said in his first response, was not to impose Canadian-style carbon rate, right? Was to promote, not install, not put into effect, not establish, promote.
Let's roll.
it off to pass Bill C-234, which would take the carbon tax off our farmers. It can feed us more affordably. Thank you.
Okay, stop
Thanks.
there.
Last-
When he talks about
next
that
question.
one, is it just me, or did I miss the part when the Conservatives went from being against special carve-outs on the carbon tax for select groups of people to the expense of everybody else, to now promoting them? Now, hey, I have no problem with making life better for farmers.
Yeah, none whatsoever.
I have
None.
problem with hypocrisy.
Mhm.
You're either against special carve-outs for one group of people or one industry to the exclusion of others, or you're not. But you certainly can't be against a carve-out for people who are heating their homes with the most expensive and most GHG emitting source of fuel, the place where you would want to act, and be for them when it comes to farming. Pretzel, twist, torque. This guy's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
Keep going.
Okay, here we are. Let's try and stomach some more of this, shall we?
Sorry.
Oui, Radio-Canada, Toronto.
No, actually, is it?
Hier, les conservateurs ont voté.
I'll jump ahead to the English version. Or do you want to translate?
No, she doesn't answer. She doesn't ask it she doesn't ask it in English. And so this question's from a francophone reporter from Radio Canada. I'll take some notes and we'll stop after she asks the question, and then I will translate for you what it is she asked.
Okay, just a sec. Here we go. I'll play it now.
Next question, sorry.
Oui, Radio-Canada, Toronto. Hier, les conservateurs ont voté contre le projet de loi C-316 visant à pérenniser le programme de contestation judiciaire, souvent utilisé par les communautés francophones en situation minoritaire. Pourquoi tourner le dos à ces communautés minoritaires, s'il vous plaît?
Non, c'est pas vrai. C'est pas vrai. Nous sommes pour les communautés.
Okay, so she's basically asking about the court challenges program. Liberals presented Bill C-316, which would maintain the court challenges program. I guess it has an expiry date. The court challenges program is a program that is frequently used by linguistic minorities, but other groups as well that are trying to defend their rights. In this case, language rights, but it could be any types of rights. For example, the gay community is being discriminated in somewhere, and it's a program that helps these groups get some funding in order to bring these cases to the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal to fight for those rights. Okay. Mr. Grizzly, I will give you this. The vote happened on second reading, I believe it was. And the Conservatives, of course, while they are telling Quebec, by the way, that they will stand up and defend their rights, voted against extending the court challenges program. Right? The vote was 206 to 111. It passed. Only the Conservatives voted no. And Pierre Poilievre himself voted no.
Can't really read that. It's blurry. Bloc, NDP, Liberal, Green. 206, yes. Conservatives, 111, no.
Yep. And if you click on the next one. And then, what does it say about the court challenges program?
The CCP offers funding for constitutional language and human rights test cases in Canada, advancing language and human rights guaranteed under Canada's Constitution. Litigation, test case development, apply for funding, legal interventions.
All right. So you can fast forward to the next question. When Pierre answers this, because he's answering in French, he's basically saying it's not true that they voted against it for the.
And I heard, he says no. I heard him say at the beginning, it's not true.
Yeah, c'est pas vrai.
Nous allons toujours protéger les droits des francophones et des gens en situation minoritaire à travers le pays. Je pense que l'approche du gouvernement ne vise pas à accomplir ça. Notre approche va protéger les droits linguistiques, de l'éducation, de santé des communautés francophones, et ce projet de loi n'accomplit pas ce but.
Okay, so what he is saying is that we voted against it, but we support minority language rights, and we will always defend it. We voted against this bill because we believe it will not accomplish what it is it says it's going to do. The bill is to extend the life of a program that already exists and has been proven to work, judging by the number of times it's been accessed. So he's literally lying. He's pretending like it's a new program and that it won't work. No, it's a renewal of a program that's existed for a while now and has been proven to work. Meanwhile, in the background, right, while you have Sarah Fisher talking about eliminating the Bank of Canada, there's also talk about eliminating the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal. Conservatives are also pushing destroying and eliminating that institution. And he's sitting there going like this, our plan to protect minorities. You don't have a plan. That's like when Harper said, oh, no, for climate change, we've got our own plan, but our own plan never materialized over 10 years. We've got our own plan to help protect language rights, minority rights, while they're campaigning to dismantle the Canadian Human Rights Commission, and they voted against extending the court challenges program that will give people money to actually fight for their rights. The duplicity there is off the charts, right? If you're a minority group in any way, can't trust this guy.
No, God, no.
He's literally lying that a program that works, proven to work, will not do what it says it's going to do when it has done what it says it's going to do for years. And the government says, let's keep doing this because it works. They don't want you to be able to have any tools to help you fight for your rights.
No,
The
of
rights
course
they
not.
plan to run roughshod all over.
They want to subjugate you. Welcome to serfdom. He wants to be his feudal lord, the feudal lord. Okay, let's roll the remainder. There's one more question. Have a look at this.
Maybe one or two more, yeah.
No, well, it says last. There might be a second one after, but no, I think this is the last one. Hang on. Here we go.
Yep.
Sure.
This question is from Kevin Gallagher of CTV News. The Independent Senators Group are accusing your House Leader Andrew Scheer of tweeting out a most wanted poster of two senators, encouraging people to call them and ask them why they shut down debate on Bill C-234. It resulted in a threatening phone call to one senator's office that resulted in police telling her to leave her home. Did this tactic go too far?
The conservative common sense.
Okay, just before he talks, I want everybody at home, if you're listening, if you're watching, get your hip waders on, because you're going to need it to wade through the bullshit he's about to throw at you.
Yep.
Conservatives are pushing Liberal senators to pass the bill C-234 to take the carbon tax off our farmers who feed us. And our call is for people to let these senators know that there should be no more carbon tax on our farmers because we already can't afford the price of food. We encourage people to make those calls in a respectful, intelligent way. If someone has been threatened, then they should be, whoever uttered that threat should be held accountable. I receive threats all the time, as do members of my caucus. It's terrible when it happens. That does not change the fact that taxing our farmers makes food more expensive for everyone, and that's why senators should immediately pass Conservative Bill C-234 to take the tax off and let our Canadian people eat affordable food.
Okay,
all right,
stop there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. This one is particularly odious. Particularly odious. Miss Andrew Scheer got raked over the coals because, again, this is Andrew Scheer washing dishes to pay off his debt. He's the guy that they send out to do the horrible shit.
Oh, yeah.
Let's take a look at that poster, shall we?
Okay. Let's see.
Now,
do I have
here
the
again,
poster?
Pierre
Yes, I
gave,
do. Here it is.
Okay, here's
the
here again,
poster.
Pierre gave the standard boilerplate answer, but you hear how I say it's not believable? Okay, this is the poster that Andrew Scheer put out Okay? Call and ask why these senators, why they shut down debate. He's got 2 senators' name. He put the numbers of their phone offices there.
Mm-hmm.
The lady on the left is
Mm-hmm.
Senator Bernadette Clement. Her office was flooded with so many calls. Now, there are 2 people in this photo, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between them?
Oh, Bernadette Clement is not Caucasian.
Not Caucasian. Her office got flooded so much that she had to leave her residence for the weekend and go someplace else. They made her unsafe. The other lady in that photo is Chantal Petitclerc.
Mm-hmm.
She is a national hero.
That's her right
She's
there.
an Paralympian. 21 medals for Canada over the course of her career, including 14 gold. And she is in a wheelchair, right? No legs.
Mm-hmm.
What if somebody finds out where she lives and swarms her house? How does she escape? They sicked their minions on someone who is not Caucasian, knowing for well that that will be a trigger for them, and someone who has reduced mobility, who
Mm-hmm.
have a hard time getting away.
Well, this is the part that disgusts me, though. This, did he go too far? He justifies it. We encourage people to make those calls in a respectful, intelligent way because a most wanted poster encourages respectful and intelligent interaction. I receive threats all the time. That's my bill, basically.
In all, in that whole presser, he said common sense 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
You drunk yet?
7. That'd be 7 pints in how long have we been? We've been on the air for an hour and a half. If I drank 7 pints in 90 minutes, I'd be in serious trouble right now. Oh my gosh.
When I said the bullshit would be eyebrow high, did I lie?
No.
Is it any wonder he didn't show up to the House of Commons for question period?
How much you want to bet he won't be there today either?
This father mugger.
It's not one thing, it's a bloody another.
Unreal. All right. Moving on. Did you have something you wanted to talk about, Mr. Grizzly? While I flip the
A
next
couple of things, quickly from my buddy Clinton DeVoe. He sent me some stuff online. And let me just share a couple of photos with you. So first off, this is from Ian Miles Chong. So that's going to be a great piece of reporting. We are under attack. Security cam footage of the suspected terrorist attack at a bridge between U.S.-Canada border. Wait a minute. We're under attack or it's suspected? What is it? Which is it? It's one. Goes right to terrorist attack. Kean Bext. All that remains to be confirmed is who the terrorist was and how recently Justin Trudeau allowed him to come into Canada. Praise to the American at the border who was just doing his job when he came face to face with Trudeau's disastrous agenda. Okay, it was an American. They weren't terrorists, and they were crossing from New York State into Ontario. So the person harmed at the border would have been Canadian. But hey, Keenan's got to suck up to somebody. Mark Friesen, there's another arsehole. Looks to me like a Tesla blowing up its batteries again. No, it was a Bentley. But they just need it to be, a brown person in a Tesla so that they can, use that cudgel.
Hey, it's a twofer.
Like, Jesus.
We get to fight against brown people and woke electric car batteries.
Yeah.
Now, before we move to the next thing, there's a tweet I want to put you because Charles Adler said something. And Susan P. Riley, a woman I respect very much, and I haven't seen her much on TV lately, She phrased something that I said way more elegantly than I could ever put it. In when you're able to say something elegant in a few words, that's the sweet spot. She does it here. So we have Charles Adler saying, if you would read it, Mr. Grizzly.
If this is the tone for the next 2 years, I'm not sure Canadians will decide this is what they want for national leadership. Not sure they will want to experience this for a decade. Real countries with real self-confidence don't choose to endure terminally petulant scolding. Whether he heard one media report or not, a responsible leader wouldn't speculate while the incident was still unfolding, and the petulant tone is beyond juvenile.
Yeah.
I concur.
Yep. Indeed. All right. I promised you some Heave a Chipmunk. Right. Heave a Chipmunk.
Do I need to go take some Gravol first? Am I going to...
You might not need Gravol for this one, but...
Okay.
Let's go. Try that.
I'm just trying to get the thing to come up here. There we go. And once it loads, I will share it with you. Okay, here we go. Let's just share this tweet. Here we go. All right. Eva Chipyuk. Does anyone know the name of the city of Edmonton's head of the Foreign Affairs Department? No, because there is no Foreign Affairs Department at the city of Edmonton. The city gets power from the province to attend to local issues like roads, sewers, and yes, policing, but getting involved in areas outside their jurisdiction, like foreign affairs, which is a federal responsibility, doesn't help to ease tensions. In fact, it can lead to more complications. I invite all elected officials in Canada to take Empowered CA, Reconnect to Canadian Civics course. Oh, I can't believe she just said that. So they can better understand the division of powers and why these different levels of political structures exist. Knowledge is a treasure, but practice is the key to it. Lao Tzu. Whoops. Blonde White Karen is upset that melanin advantaged are getting a little too uppity. We can't be allowing them to help each other now. It's just not white. Right.
Somebody flipped my switch to bitch there.
I can't believe she said take a civics lesson. Her, of all people.
Yeah. Her, of all people.
And it's the replies. It's the replies to your tweet, though. I gotta show these. Comrade Common Sense. Racist? Yes, you are. Keep up the virtual signaling. Those ethnic people are going to love you. Those ethnic people, eh? Yes, liberals are obsessed with being liked by them. So... So tweet's the one putting their own words in a black man's mouth. I don't know. The tweet is... I can't even see it because they're blocked.
It's a tweet of Martin Luther King with the two things, and it says... Anyway, it says two things about the content of the character or something like that. And, you know, the twisting of Martin Luther King's words, you know, it's about the content of your character, not the color of your skin. So I think it was something like if you say that white people are privileged because they're white, then you're being racist.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's not true. That's just simply not true.
Not true. So apparently the person commenting on someone's racism is now racist. Now, here's the thing. In this thing, she is saying, because Mr. Sohi used to be a liberal cabinet minister, is now the mayor of Edmonton, right, made a comment about the Israel-Palestine thing. It's like, where's the Foreign Affairs Department? He shouldn't be talking about that. So that's shut up and stay in your lane, isn't it?
That's exactly what that is.
So it's a white woman telling a brown man, again, with a Muslim-y sounding name, to shut up and stay in his lane. So I pointed that out, and then she puts something out saying, like, what is it about my skin color and color of my hair that makes it racist for me to talk about the divisions of powers? Sweetie, we've seen you at work. We know you're not talking about division of powers. You're telling a man to shut up and stay in his lane on the basis that he is not a federal official and therefore has no role in foreign affairs. Shouldn't be talking about that whatsoever. So, Mr. Grizzly, here's the thing. You know who else is not a federal? I will, yeah, there we go. You can do that. There we go.
Okay.
You know who's
So
that
this is
one right there, the number 2.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
number two.
So it has nothing to do. Number 2. But you said getting involved in areas outside of their jurisdiction, like foreign affairs, which is a federal responsibility. Let's click on these 4 photos.
Okay, so there's the mayor of Edmonton. Okay, yeah,
One of these things is not like the others.
There's the
Some
premier
these
of
things are
Saskatchewan.
kind of the same. One
Alberta
of these
premier.
things is not like the others. Can
Doug
you
Ford.
guess which one before my song is done? Before my song is done.
All white conservatives get a pass, but the brown
And they are premiers.
Yeah.
So they're not federal. Now,
they're not federal.
the Premier of Alberta did hers on October 7th, the day of the attack. Scott Moe did his about 2-3 days ago when the legislature was disrupted. And Doug Ford did it in October. We're at 48 days since that happened. Okay? Now, at day 48, she takes the time to say, hey, civics. But only when the brown guy gets out of his lane. Then she responds with, oh, friend, I live in Edmonton. I can't keep an eye on every elected official across this great country. Does that make me a racist? Emoji. At least I have the integrity to put my name to my public statements. Have a nice day, True North Eager Beaver. Okay. Now, you know what happens to me when someone does something like that to me. It's like, okay, counselor, let's have some fun. So, I sent you the link to that tweet where she responds that. Let's go down. This. It's with the response. Honestly, I believe it does make you a racist. An inability to keep your eye on all of them, which no one expects and no one can do, doesn't mean you don't have the ability to be aware of even just one other in the whole nation, or your province, or even your city. So she did the, I shake a lot of hands. I meet a lot of people. I take a lot of pictures thing. I have a lot of meetings. Like you, I live in a city. Mine is outside Alberta, and I'm aware your premier commented on foreign affairs. She made her statement on the very day the attack on Israel took place. It was a big news day, and I know you keep your eye on her. Why not comment then? Let's keep going. Does the whole thread continue there? I suggest to you that if someone you were cross-examining argued that their inability to be omniscient made it impossible for them to have committed the crime, you wouldn't turn to the judge and then say, I guess that means we must withdraw the charges. I further suggest that if a witness tried that, you might ask the judge to instruct the witness to answer or for permission to consider them a hostile witness, that you'd conclude that they were trying to be evasive or hiding the truth in a big pile of bovine fecal matter. In fact, I suggest you'd state that the witness making a choice to go, anyway, I think that's a typo, to do that was to go to so ridiculous and extreme would be a sign of consciousness of guilt and that behavior was wildly abnormal. Referring, at least I have the integrity to put my name to my public statements, irrelevant and immaterial, counselor. Whether I put my name or not to my public statements in no way affected your intent when making yours, especially since I made my statements after yours. Also, integrity in putting your name to a statement confers precisely zero integrity to the statement itself, which is the issue at hand, and it in no way adds integrity to the statement. Using the same principle, your contention that my statements have less integrity than yours because you allege I lack the integrity to put my name to my statements, which is assuming facts not in evidence, by the way, is speculative. You know my name. If you want to know my name, you know my name. Given your position, your national profile, your interest in politics, and the salience of the issue, I contend that over the last 48 days, it is a statistical improbability and implausibility that you would not be aware of at least more than one who made such a statement. I further contend that you arguing lack of omniscience is bad faith, and when coupled with the introduction of an immaterial argument of integrity, it means that when you do the mirror test, that mirror test of when it's you yourself in a mirror, you know what you frickin' did. You know damn well that the mayor of Edmonton's skin color was a key factor in you making this case on day 48 rather than on day 1 when the premier of your province left her lane, or just a few days ago when the premier of Saskatchewan left his following the protest at the legislature. So when you put all of this within the context of all that's publicly known about you, you supported the convoy, which is inherently racist. I believed you to be racist prior to you making this statement, and the fact you singled out a brown man for this special treatment merely confirms this for me. I rest my case.
And then, of course,
Oh, yeah.
it's some of the replies, though, that they go, what happens when white left-leaning liberals get upset? And I'm like, you don't know what this person looks like?
I had one person
Beaver.
respond, "You're white."
But you're not.
How would you know? One, how would you know that?
Yeah.
And even if I were white, what about me being white would make it not okay for me to call out another white person when I suspect them being racist? And then he goes, "You're white. You already said that. You're white." Okay, creepy.
Yeah.
Saucy past the popcorn, meow. This is really helping to get the bad taste of listening to Skippy out of my mouth. Absolutely delicious. All hail Queen Douglas. Is it wrong hearing this takedown is like eating dessert for breakfast? Oh my. Douglas gives such a descriptive scolding. You go, Queen. Gee, kitties. You know what? My finger feels better now. Look at that. My blocking finger. You cured. It's a miracle. I can block.
It's a Festivus miracle.
Oh, wow.
I got
Oh, Queen Douglas, petty is such a beautiful color on you.
Well, let's stick with the western portion of the country for a few minutes, if we shall, because Evie is in Saskatchewan. No, she's in Edmonton. Sorry, she's in Edmonton. For some reason, I thought she's in Saskatchewan. Anyway, we'll stick with Alberta for a few minutes. Here's I don't know if you saw this, sir. So this is interesting. It's well, let's just have a look at this. I'll share this on the screen and then I'll read it out, and we'll go from there. Little Schadenfreude. New Elections Alberta is looking into Take Back Alberta's finances and donation. The group's former CFO says. Take Back Alberta founder David Parker also had his posting privileges on the group's Telegram channel revoked amid infighting between TBA leaders.
That's our saving grace, that they can't stand each other.
Elections Alberta. First, the leadership of Take Back Alberta has been in turmoil following the election that brought Daniel Smith to power. Now, TBA's former chief financial officer says the group is facing an audit from Elections Alberta over its finances and donation records. TBA's former CFO, Marco van Hugenboos, I hope I had said that correctly, says he was recently contacted by an Elections Alberta investigator to possibly open the books on the third-party group's financial reporting, including for the election where it reported 0 donations and 0 expenditures as a registered election advertiser. I think there's things coming down the line that are going to have consequences for them. Elections Alberta is on the trail, Van Hugenboos told Press Progress. Adding that he intends to cooperate with Elections Alberta's investigation. It's a financial audit. There's probably a likelihood it'll trigger something else, but that's not for me to say one way or the other.
Oh my God, this is so great because yesterday I just said, what are the odds that in about a year or so, within the year, there's going to be an Auditor General report of some kind that's going to lead to a reference to a police investigation, just as was the case for Doug Ford for Daniel Smith and friends. Like, my ability to call things over the last few weeks has been...
Well, when Parker tweeted out recently, all right, Ontario, you ready to take back Ontario? I had a 2-word response. 2 words, real simple, straightforward and to the point. They start with F and end in FF. 2 words. I think you can guess what they were. And then, of course, not everybody wants to tweet this. No, I do. I do want to tweet that. I do want to tweet that. First off, the Take Back Alberta, from whom? Who are you taking it from? Take it back from whom? Who has it? And every time these idiots tell me about, we're going to Wexit, I'm like, how's that going to happen? You're on treaty territory. Almost all of Western Canada, like 2/3 of BC, all of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and most of northwestern Ontario is treaty territory.
Yep.
Well, we'll just buy them out. No, it doesn't work that way. Those agreements are with the King of England, the Crown. And it's part of the Constitution Act of 1982. So you have to rewrite the Constitution, number one, not going to happen. Number two, the King of England is well aware of the mistreatment of Indigenous and Inuk people in this country. He's well aware.
And the current king cares.
He does. He does care. So I'm not a monarchist, okay?
Nope.
But
if it's
this man
environment,
actually is in this game.
If it's the environment or if it's Indigenous stuff, this man cares.
He does. He genuinely cares. So I'll tell you right now, there's no way in hell that's ever going to change. And next in line for the throne, yeah, he ain't going to change it either.
Wow. The kids still have some stuff coming in. Gee, thank you. My word, such compliments. Wow. Okay, I didn't think that was going to hit that hard.
Oh yeah, it did.
With the kids, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted it as a palate cleanser so I could like do a little Julia Sugar Baker so that we could just move on from. But damn, kids, thank you so much. Like that Jim, racist can't reconcile that someone who isn't white could be articulate and intelligent. Oh, ow, Kit Linda, how many white beavers have you seen? Oh, I wish I would have thought of that. Actually, the guy just said that you're trying to get the affection of those ethnic groups. And I went, so? They literally had nothing to say after. I just did I don't get the joke. Why is that funny? You want the love of those ethnic people. So? And then let him fill in the blank. And he couldn't. He had nothing. Wow. Kids, well, thank you. Really, thank you. Strawberry amnesia. Oh my word. You guys are as vicious as I am. Jeez. Oh wow, Mr. Beaver took her to the woodshed. Yeah, that I did.
Yeah.
That I did. Because when she turned around and said, like, I can't possibly follow all of them. I'm in Edmonton. Yeah, there's no other person on Edmonton Council?
Mm-hmm. No, not a single one.
No one in Calgary, no one in Lethbridge, nobody in Drumheller?
No.
Not the premier of your province, nobody else, no other MLA? Really?
No.
There's nobody else that was not for federal. In 48 days, being in the circles that you are, you haven't stumbled upon anybody who wasn't a federal official, at
Just
least
one brown
once,
man,
just by
that's it.
accident. Just in the course. I knew about those 3 people doing that just in the course of my activity of daily living. I didn't have to go searching for it. I knew that Doug Ford had made a statement. I knew that Daniel Smith had made a statement.
Yeah.
I knew that Scott Moe had made a statement. Scott Moe, her French kissing cousin, one province down. The legislature got held up. And he went in there and said, well, you know that we stand with Israel. I guess he's not out of his lane? Ugh. Wow. Oh, thank you, kids. But this story that you just brought, that makes me very happy.
Yeah.
Here's the truth that you should always remember.
Let me
kids.
share something with you.
Hold on, let me finish this one. Let me finish this.
Okay.
Here's the truth. The thing about ideological movements and ideological parties is that as soon as they are founded, the seeds for their implosion are already there.
Yeah.
Because when something is not working well enough, there will always be somebody, you can count on it. There will always be somebody who comes along and says, hey, the current ideologue in chief is not ideological enough. I am. And then they take a further step to the right. And then they screw up. And then somebody goes, they're not a true believer. And then they take over and they screw up. And the further they go to the right, the more extreme and the less likely they are to succeed. So then they start flipping. The flip rate becomes faster. The turnover rate becomes faster. And then they implode. That's what's happening here. And that's why the prime minister is probably not going to go to an election early. And neither is Mr. Singh if he's smart. And if he's not smart, then maybe Blanchette. Because remember, the prime minister has 2 dance partners, and Blanchette does not like the Conservatives at all.
No.
At all.
No, it does not.
No. So this term is going to go whatever length, even if Jagmeet Singh decides he's going to do an opportunist thing and pull the plug. Because Quebec won't let it happen.
No.
Pierre can't do this for 23 more months.
No, God, no, it's not happening.
He can't. All right. The thing
Go
you
back to Mr. Parker for a minute. I want to show you this. This is from Marco van Hugenbos, the former CFO of Take Back Alberta. Scroll up here a little bit so we can see it. I like to think of Twitter as the Thunderdome, right? Twitter is the Coliseum. Twitter is where we go on, we do battle. David J. Parker on the Dean Blundell show. So let's scroll down here. I asked you to judge me by the enemies I have made. Julius Caesar, David Parker. You're blocked. Such a brave little soldier, that Parker. You're blocked.
A brave little toaster. Oh, man. Jeez.
Yeah,
Yep. Tiny little men wearing big shoes thinking they could do big things.
Well, and I'll go right to the tweet, the original tweet, because that was just featured in the article. But here's the original tweet, right? And we'll scroll down. He's not followed by anyone you're following. You are blocked from following and viewing his posts. And if we scroll down, what? Parker never stood up for a fight. He relied on others to fight his battles, as I am sure you would know better than I would. The guy is on another planet. Sorry, but my opinion. In the words of Tina Turner, we don't need another hero. Parker is not the hero he believes he is. He's too busy rubbing shoulders with elites just so he can tell them how stupid they are while he takes their money for his own monetary gain. I said a while ago, he's going to push the wrong person and he's going to pay a very high price. And that day, it's nigh. It's like it's here, man. He's about to find out. He FA'd. He's FO'd. Now he's FA. Mm-hmm. No, he FA'd. Now he's FO. I got to get it right. F around. Find out.
I've Kit the anti-corporatist. Y'all don't have as much of a problem with money in politics up in Canada as we do here down here. No, we do not. We do not. Thankfully. Yeah. That Citizens United decision, United States. To our American fans who are watching. Yeah, that was not a good one. No, unfortunately, we don't have that.
No, we have something
from our conservatives.
We have something worse.
Oh,
worse.
Okay.
Yes, this is disturbing to me. This morning, I joined my caucus colleagues to meet with the Christian Labour Association of Canada. Our government shares their commitment to build better workplaces, communities, and lives. Let's just scroll down here. This is some of the anti-union, Christian liars and cheats. They represent employers, not employees, and screw workers over every chance they get. If you really want to commit to build better workplaces, communities, and lives, you would have this scam organization dissolved. CLAC is not a real union. That's an ad. Quite a start. Excuse me? The Christian Labour Association of Canada is not a member of Building Trades of Alberta, nor is recognized as a union by the Canadian Labour Congress, nor the Alberta Federation of Labour.
The UCP abolished the labor ministry?
Mm-hmm.
I missed that. Whoa. Okay. Whew. Shall
Yeah,
we move on
worse.
yeah.
It's
Shall we-
worse.
Yeah. Boy. Shall we move on to housing, Mr. Grizzly?
Sure thing. But while you're doing that,
Yep.
I desperately need a coffee.
Okay.
I gotta. Let me just. We've been at this for 2 hours. Let me make a cup of coffee, and go see a man about a horse because I need to do that. And I'll be back in just a minute or two. Okay.
All right. Then let's see. Yeah, I think I could start without.
Actually, sir, if you want the link you sent me, because there's no sound, you can
Yeah.
share it.
I could. Yes, that's true. I could share it.
Yeah, you can share it.
All right. Let's do that. I'll open it in another window so that I can see it while I watch the chat as well.
Yeah,
There
you bring it
we
up.
go.
I'll give you
I
the
will
ability to
bring
put it on.
up. Window. Is it this the one?
The link you sent me to the thread reader app. That
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I
Yeah.
just can't. Where's the? Okay, there's the thread reader up one. Okay, there we go. All right.
Let me just boom, and you'll want to blow it up like a
Yeah.
lot.
Okay.
I'll be back in a few minutes.
Blow it up. There we go. And now I will. Let's see if I can still see you guys at the same time. Pardon the technical difficulties here. Doom 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 doom. And why is this not cooperating? There we go. All right. Well, that doesn't seem like I'm sharing the same screen at all. That is very weird. Okay, this is clearly, the technology is clearly not working as we had intended to here. Let me try one more time if I can get the right one here. This is one it's supposed to be. There we go. Do you guys, no, I guess you guys don't see it now because Mr. Grizzly's gone. All right, don't worry. He'll be back and we'll put it up. Okay, so somebody, my nose begins, had tweeted something and about housing, and I don't, for some reason the thread reader app didn't keep the original tweet to which I was responding, and I will look for that when Mr. Grizzly comes up. But it basically starts with respectfully, nope, try again. You do not know how it works, and you do not know how we got here. It's important to know your history on housing, but I like to help. And I gave as a source the WellesleyInstitute.com, which is a group, an institute that works in research and policy to improve health and health equity through the Greater Toronto Area through action on the social determinants of health. They, in an article that they published some time ago, stated, the Conservative government of Brian Mulroney, elected in 1984, slashed national affordable housing spending, cutting almost $2 billion in housing dollars during its 10 years in office. In 1993, the Conservative government, then under Prime Minister Kim Campbell, delivered the final blow by cancelling all new funding for affordable housing. To be blunt, they pretty much stripped the cupboard bare, leaving only funding for projects that had already been built. So we're talking since 1984 now. We're talking about nearly 40 years ago. The abandonment of housing by the federal government started. So when you had the Conservatives saying after 8 years of Trudeau, or 8 years ago, it wasn't like this, it is such a lie. It is such a lie. And if you've been around, for all this time, you might remember the Mulroney days, but if you weren't, if you're in that generation that came around after Mulroney, you have never known a Canada that did have a national housing strategy up until a couple of years ago. So for that whole 30 to 35 years of voters, it's easy for them to buy PeePee shtick because they have no idea what happened before whatsoever. And it's certainly not the conservatives that were going to tell them. Right? So then, after Mulroney, the Chrétien Martin Liberals' austerity push to get the nation's finances in shape pretty much killed all initiative. And because, other than for Indigenous people on reserve, housing never was primarily the federal government's lane, it had fewer levers to pull to make it happen. From the Wellesley Institute, the Liberals in opposition in 1990 were a bit more bold in recommending new investments. For instance, in 1990, the Liberals called for the funding of 5,000 new co-op homes annually, even as the Conservative government was shutting down the National Affordable Housing Program. The Liberals in opposition in 2008 don't make a strong pitch for new investment. Instead, they call for lots more consultation, such as annual meetings between the federal cabinet and municipal leaders, and steady-as-she-goes spending, such as maintain funding for housing, even as the Liberals condemn the Conservatives for not making adequate investments. Why the dampening down of recommendations even as the passion remains strong? The Liberals in government from 1993 to 2006 had a great deal of difficulty in meeting the promises that they set out in their 1990 task force report. They failed to restore the slashed investments in affordable housing for which they condemned the Conservative governments, and they failed to make the new investments, such as the promised 5,000 new co-op homes annually. In 1996, the federal budget, delivered by then Finance Minister Paul Martin, the Liberal government announced plans to download most of the federal housing programs to the provinces and territories, which left Canada as the only major country in the world without a national housing strategy. I will repeat that. In 1996, after the federal budget was delivered by Finance Minister Paul Martin, the Liberal government announced plans to download most of the federal housing programs to the provinces and territories, which left Canada as the only major country in the world without a national housing strategy. In 1998, the Liberal government commercialized Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, the federal government's national housing agency, with radical changes to the National Housing Act. After the mayors of Canada's biggest cities declared homelessness a national disaster in 1998, the Liberals announced a series of bits and pieces, some money for homelessness here, some money for housing rehabilitation there. Finally, in 2001, the Feds signed the Affordable Housing Framework Agreement with the provinces and territories. Under this deal, as it evolved, the federal Liberal government agreed to put $1 billion over 5 years into new affordable homes, and the provinces and territories were supposed to match that funding for a total of $2 billion nationwide. Not enough, but a very good start. Unfortunately, the 2001 agreement was so clumsy that in large parts of the country, including Ontario and much of Atlantic Canada and parts of the West, very little new housing was built. So, we are going from 1984 to 2001 and what came before. And Brian Mulroney cut almost $2 billion in housing dollars during the first 10 years of his office. Kim Campbell delivered the final blow by canceling all new funding for affordable housing, leaving only funding for projects that had already been built. Liberals, after that, talked a good game, but then started downplaying it. And then, when it came down to it, near the end of their term, well, let's say midterm, 2001, because even though they had put money and got another $2 billion reestablished in it, which is not the same when you consider future value of money 17 years later, but very little housing was built because the program was not designed well. So that brings us to 2001, when we're talking about how we got to this situation. The Harper Conservatives, bolstered by a $13 billion a year surplus left to them by the Chrétien Martin government, talked a good game to start, but it decided to blow it on a populist 2% GST cut nobody noticed and hobbled any plans to improve the lives of Canadians. Mr. Grizzly, I was actually not able to bring up the right thing, so I put it up for
Whoops,
you. Now.
Hang on a sec here. I've got the screen, and I will share. The Conservative government of Stephen Harper, elected in 2006, announced it would allocate 1.4.
No, not there. No, we're not there yet.
Oh, you just finished the. Yeah, that was the next thing on the link.
I wanted to show them the articles that are there.
Oh, hang on.
You know, the two visuals. So let's see if I can blow this up more. No, higher. Yeah, there we go. So the one you can't see is small, but that's okay. I will read it for you over here. Hold on. Jeez, I'm having trouble with this. The Conservative government of Stephen Harper, elected in 2006, announced that it would allocate $1.4 billion in affordable housing dollars authorized by Parliament in 2005. A good move by the government, but a bit of a surprise since the Conservatives in opposition at the time had voted in 2005 against the housing spending. Late in 2006, the Conservatives announced that they would extend but not expand federal homelessness and housing repair programs for the 2 years. All 3 pots of money are due to expire this year. At the time the Wellesley Institute wrote that year was 2008. So if the Conservatives don't renew, extend, and enhance the 3 programs, then hundreds of street-level services for homeless people in 61 communities across Canada will skid to a halt. Much-needed transitional and affordable housing won't get built, and rundown housing won't be restored. And that's precisely what the Conservatives did. Conversely, that 2% cut to the GST that removed $13 billion from our finances with which we could have used to fund housing, according to the Globe and Mail in 2013. So, I mean, Harper came into power in 2006, I believe. So 7 years later, Canada lost when Ottawa cut the GST. It is a decision that still casts a long shadow over Ottawa's books. Cutting the goods and services tax by 2 percentage points starting in 2006 makes almost everything the government has done since seem well like small potatoes. That includes the entirety of the last week's 433-page budget. Every percentage point of GST is now worth just shy of $7 billion a year, according to a recent calculation by the Parliamentary Budget Officer. 2 points cost Ottawa a staggering $14 billion. This is in 2013. For a sense of scale, reversing the GST rollback would virtually wipe out next year's projected federal deficit of $18.7 billion. So when Harper said, like, balance the budget, yes, but overtaxing was like theft, he cut the 2 points GST, so you save 2 cents on the dollar, something nobody noticed. Even if you were buying a $150,000 house at a time, I think it saved you like $3,000 or something, or $6,000. It was not a lot. It's not a lot. And started accumulating deficits again, adding to the national debt that he could have avoided had he just maintained the thing in place.
Where's the fiscal responsibility from the Conservative Party that, we were told that they're supposed to be so good at?
Indeed, the sum dwarfs all the signature items trumpeted in Finance Minister Jim Flaherty's latest budget, again, the 2013 budget. Think of the $5 billion a year that's being invested in Canada's crumbling urban infrastructure, the $500 million a year cost of Ottawa's vaunted jobs grant program, or the $140 million a year for extending the tax break for embattled manufacturers who invest in machinery and equipment. Needless to say, not having $14 billion also delays what the Conservatives now insist is job one, erasing the deficit by 2015. So they tell you they want to erase the deficit, and they tell you, but then they cut their ability to do that by reducing the amount of income that they bring in. You can't keep cutting taxes and still expect the economy is going to grow. At some point, there's going to be a law of diminishing returns where you can't afford to do the things you must do because you're not taking in enough money. In 2009, after the 2008 crash hit, the Harper government announced $7.8 billion for housing, but gave 271% more to homeowners in the middle and upper income brackets, of course, than to the poors. By 2011, it just said screw the poors and slashed funding by greater than 90%, and that's the thing I mentioned when we talked about it the previous time. So when I talked about it the previous time, this is where I came in. I didn't know all the stuff that happened before that. So all the stuff I gave you, just up until this point, is new stuff that I didn't know of before, that it goes that far back. The Wellesley Institute filed a 5-page document with the Universal Periodic Review citing a litany of Canadian cutbacks to housing programs. It states that in 2009, the federal government announced $2.1 billion in new funding for affordable housing over a 2-year period, plus another $5.7 billion for homeowners in the middle and upper income brackets. That's the 271% more. We're giving you $7.8 billion, but we're going to direct $5.7 billion to homeowners in the middle and upper income brackets, and $2.1 billion for new funding for affordable housing. By 2011, so they didn't direct the money to where the need was. By 2011, these short-term measures were terminated, and there was a 39% reduction in affordable housing funding compared with the previous year. Since most federal dollars were matched by provinces, territories, municipalities, nonprofit, and private housing organizations, the combined loss added up to more than $3.5 billion in 1 year, as declared by the Wellesley Institute. So this is a follow-up from the previous article that they wrote. Included in the federal cuts were 97% cut in affordable housing initiative for new affordable homes, 97, from $452 million to $16 million. 94% cut in National Low-Income Housing Repair Program from $674 to $37 million. So basically, whatever low-income housing did exist, they were now officially declaring themselves slumlords because they're not going to repair them. And a 27% cut in on-reserve Aboriginal housing from 215, which is not a lot to start with, to 156 million. And a 5% cut in assisted housing from 1.7 to 1.6 billion. In fact, the abandonment was so stark and shocking, the UN Human Rights Council felt it had to look into it. If you want to know more about the Harper government's legacy on housing, required reading is that article from the Georgia Strait that I've given to you before, but I will again include as a link here, and I'll give it to Mr. Grizzly to put up for you in the chat. That way you can take a look at it. But it's a Georgia Strait article that says Feds lie about world housing or something. I'm not exactly sure what the title is there because I just got the little brief there. Hold on, I'll actually open it up and figure it out there. Stephen Harper Government Lies to the World on Housing, November 14th, 2012, in the Georgia Strait. For people listening at home, if you want to go look that up for yourselves. The federal government will have to answer to the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva for its failure to keep its promises to the international community around housing. Michael Shapcott, Director of Affordable Housing and Social Innovation at the Toronto-based Wellesley Institute, told the Georgia Strait by phone that in 2009, Canada made several pledges to the Universal Periodic Review process. That's the thing I mentioned a couple of minutes ago. The context for the very unevenly divided $7.8 billion announced in 2011. So, yes, we're making the pledge to the Universal Periodic Review process. We're putting $7.8 billion, but we're directing 271% more to people who already don't need it. This was created by the UN in 2006 to hold countries accountable for their human rights records by forcing them to answer to questions from other countries.
Yeah.
Now, despite being called out in the 2009 by the UN, more cuts came, including the elimination of the Affordable Housing Initiative. That is the massive mess the three previous governments left for the current one. In addition, the Institute, this is again from the Wellesley Institute, in addition, the Institute revealed that a federal crown corporation, the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, will cut the number of households receiving assistance under federal programs by almost 100,000, or 16% between 2008 and 2016. And CMHC's expenditures on the Affordable Housing Initiative will fall from $582 million to zero between 2010 and 2015. So after the cuts from Mulroney and after the promised new money, and then that from the Liberals that didn't really happen because the program was poorly built, and then some announcements of money for 2 years by the Conservatives under Harper that they then pulled and then so they put some money, they pulled, then they put another $7.8 billion, but directed most of it to people who didn't need it. And then they had the CMHC, when they were given with the left, pull with the right the money for the Affordable Housing Initiative, to zero by 2015. In 1992, the year before Ottawa canceled funding for new affordable housing, various levels of government contributed 0.5% of the gross domestic product to housing, according to the Institute. Since then, there has been a massive erosion in public housing spending and legislated housing protection. Quote, 15 years later, Canada's GDP had doubled, but housing spending had shrunk to 0.29% of GDP. So it basically stayed constant in real numbers, but shrunk as percentage of GDP. If they had just maintained percentage of GDP 15 years later, the housing spending would also have doubled. Shapcott said that the international community doesn't expect Canada to solve the housing problems of every citizen, but that it does expect things to improve. In 2009, the then UN Special Rapporteur on Housing, Milun Kotari, reported that Canada was violating this notion of realizing progressive gains and that things were in fact getting worse. According to Shapcott, representatives of other countries have told him they're shocked, quote, that Canada appears to be falling behind. They also can't understand why Canada, unlike other industrialized countries such as the United States and Great Britain, has no national housing strategy in place to address this. On November 22nd, 2017, Prime Minister Trudeau unveiled a national housing strategy. So, when the Conservatives are saying that Liberals did nothing, all of that mess from 1984 to 2017 is all the mess that they had to clean up. Quote, one of the key things we want to say is not only is Canada failing to meet its obligations, but it's also failing to meet its commitment it made the last time around 2009 when it was under the Universal Periodic Review. Yeah, I guess so. When you direct 271% of the money to people who don't need it. Yeah. You think the UN, who sent a special rapporteur to actually investigate this, would probably have a problem with that. Now, the point of view of the person that said the federal government needed to be pushed and it had to be pressured into doing it. Right? When you were saying yesterday, it's like, well, the federal government took too long and didn't do it. No, it did need to be pushed and pressured, and it certainly wasn't the Conservatives who did it. Again, nope. Nearly 6 years ago, to the day, the current Prime Minister unveiled the first national housing strategy in decades. I have a link to it there. Between 2015 and 2021, the current Prime Minister unveiled all of these measures. This was in their Liberal platform of 2021 for the 2021 election. They gave an accounting of what they had done so far. First, created Canada's National Housing Strategy, an ambitious 10-year plan to invest over $72 billion in 10 years.
It's a lot of money.
To build supply, making housing affordable and address chronic homelessness. Introduced legislation recognizing the right of Canadians to access adequate housing. Not the right to housing for everyone, but at least the right of Canadians to access adequate housing. In law, enshrined in law, helped more than 2 million Canadians find places to call home through new builds, repairs, renovations, and rental subsidies. Signed a Canada Housing Benefit Agreement with every province and territory, totaling $4 billion in cost-matched funding and helping over 300,000 Canadians pay rent. Introduced the first-time home buyers incentive to help eligible first-time home buyers finance a portion of their home purchase through a shared equity mortgage with Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. They also announced Canada's first national tax on vacant property owned by non-resident non-Canadians, which went into effect January 1st, 2022. They tripled the federal government's investment in homelessness prevention and reduction. They committed over $1.7 billion for distinctions-based housing strategies for First Nations, Inuit, and Métis communities. And they launched the Rapid Housing Initiative, investing $2.5 billion to create at least 9,200 new units of affordable housing across Canada. So when the Conservatives say they've done nothing, that's a lie. They had been very busy. And that's with having very few levers to pull, because it is not primarily a federal responsibility, and there's nothing in legislation that allows them. But these are the things that they were able to do. They found every single thing that they could do, and they were doing it. Then, because they were talking about the Housing Accelerator Fund, and they said, well, they took too long to do that. The Prime Minister and everybody else made it very clear at the time that they had changed lanes at the time because interest rates were so low that it was better to do another thing rather than the original thing. In 2017, the CMHC Rental Construction Financing Initiative, the RCFI, was launched to provide low-cost funding during the most risky phases of product development of standard rental apartment projects, construction through stabilized operations. So, this is from this program here. This is on their website. The interest rates for loans that have been funded under the RCFI program have ranged between 1% and 3% depending on the interest rate environment and on the project-specific characteristics. That's between 1% and 3% lower than alternative financing. Developers say that that's the cheapest rates around, said McCaster. Everyone is impressed with the rates. And this is from a website called Canada.ConstructConnect. So this is the actual construction industry commenting on the RCFI. So why everybody's going like, why didn't you do the housing accelerator program there? Because with low interest rates, they were able to finance people to build rental housing at a much faster rate than could have been done with Housing Accelerator Fund. The RCFA was launched in 2017 and expanded in budget 2018, increasing the available loans from $2.5 billion to $3.75 billion over 3 years. So they put $2.5 billion in the first year, and then they bolstered it by 50% the very next year. This year's budget further expanded the initiative, adding $10 billion over 9 years for the total of $13.75 billion. 2.5 at first. Hey, this is working well. Let's add 50% more to 3.75. Hey, this is working really great. Let's add 10 billion more. The target is 42,500 new units across Canada. A sister program that more directly targeted affordable housing, the National Housing Co-Investment Fund, was initiated in May 2018. Both are part of the government's national housing strategy. With the RCFI, at least 20% of units must have affordable rents defined in the program, and that affordability must be maintained for at least 10 years. McMaster explained the RCFI is a more streamlined apartment supply program with an affordability component, while the co-investment program has more social targets, including energy efficiency. So far, the CMHC has committed $3.7 billion from the RCFI to support the creation of 12,000 units, of which over 8,300 will be affordable. About 2,800 units are currently under construction. And at the time that was written, because we have to go back in time, that was 2019. So that was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, $3.7 billion from that fund had been committed. We're 4 years since.
Yeah.
And there's $13.7 billion in that fund.
So you spent a lot of time looking into this because, as I said,
really did.
Was it Monday I said, I'm upset because he said he was going to do this and he did nothing and he's doing it now. So, but as it turns out, I was very wrong.
He was doing
we were all misled because
Yes.
I know you and I believe that same line of bullshit.
Yes, we did.
We didn't have the facts.
Yeah,
you went out, you found them, you put it together. It's all right there in front of us.
I went back to 1984.
I put the link in the chat, by the way.
Yeah. And now the Housing Accelerator Fund is working its magic, and the nation's mayors seem to love it. So does the Premier of Quebec, who, unlike other premiers, was super eager to match the $900 million PM Trudeau had for him. And here I have a quote from Mayor Cam Guthrie, the mayor of Guelph, who we've asked for an interview, and they are open to one. It just seems that he is very busy and won't be able to come until the new year. But he will come. The number one single most direct influence program, policy change, shift, and intervention to help build more homes across Canada has been Sean Fraser. So when the provinces belittled the federal government to stay out of direct housing to help municipalities, it's infuriating to me. If you don't like it, then you take the lead and get it done. You've had years. Fraser did it in mere months. Because the federal government decided, you know what? Everybody says we can't do this. You can't give the money directly to the municipalities. Well, screw it. We're going to do it anyway. He basically said, just watch me, without saying the words.
Yes. Did.
Yeah. Scott Gillingham, mayor of Winnipeg. Gillingham says the Housing Accelerator Fund is critical to addressing Winnipeg's homelessness crisis. Quote, we have laid out a bold plan that would create more than 15,000 new homes in Winnipeg over the next 10 years, but we need the funds to bring it to life, he said. The city said Gillingham will lead discussions around zoning changes required to qualify for funding and will bring a motion to the next Executive Policy Committee meeting to advance these changes to a full council debate. Winnipeg said other Canadian cities have made similar changes in response to the new requirements, including Kelowna, Calgary, London, Kitchener, Waterloo, Guelph, Mississauga, Brampton, Richmond Hill, Moncton, and Halifax. And the third article that I have set there is when the federal government will spend $900 billion to build housing in Quebec, matched by the provinces. And François Legault was getting ready for his fall economic statement. And like the whole week before, it's like, we need the prime minister to come and like make a commitment and find that deal because I need that money now. Unlike all the other premiers that are going, hey, wait a minute. Justin Trudeau had no problem, didn't have to bypass the Premier of Quebec and go to the mayors of Montreal to deliver it, because he had said, hey, I got $900 million right here. Just give me the money. Let's go. That's what all our premiers should be doing. Only one has. Once again, it is Quebec showing us the way. But all the other premiers are not listening. As they did with childcare. As they did with not voting for Harper. Maybe it's time for some of us to start considering that maybe Quebec actually has an idea, has a clue about what it is doing. And stop poo-pooing on ideas just because they're from Quebec. Because it seems they got their shit together. Then, magically, direct federal funding to cities had the premiers, who are the real problem here, suddenly admitting, because they lost their cut, the truth. That housing is not the primary purview of the feds, but of the provinces. Now give us the money, no strings. Yeah. We tried that with COVID funding. We tried that with healthcare dollars. I don't think so.
Well,
I don't think so.
No, we're not. Nope.
Yeah. So,
not happening.
And this is across parties. You got Ford and Higgs, but also Premier David Eby in British Columbia, NDP. Even the Premier of BC is going, hey, Trudeau, dude, that money must pass through my hands first because, just give me the money, eh? But the nation's mayors are
Where's the money? Where's the money? Where's the money? Give me the money. I want the money.
But the nation's mayors are all like, actually, we're like really good with the PM bypassing the middleman, aka the premiers are the problem. They've done nothing for us since like forever, so And there's an article, November 11th of this year. Feds mayors don't want to slow things down after premiers criticize housing deals. So when you tweet, whatever it is that guy tweeted there, my nose begins, there we go. Oh, if nothing should, there's the original. So the original tweet to which I had responded. Oh no, they blocked me. Oh no, no longer exists. No longer exists. Apparently I sold them so well. They deleted it.
Yeah, well, that's good.
That's
they learned
good.
something.
The misinformation was gone. That's what they learned. Moreover, it's kind of excruciatingly, painfully obvious that it's the PM pushing the premiers to do their damn job and not the other way around, as you claim. The job they just confessed, while nearly crying, was theirs all along, the second cash stopped going through them. Being informed is a choice, but it takes work. I choose to be informed because Civics 101 says that if you don't know how your country actually works, it's super easy for dishonest politicians and lobbyists to pull the wool over your eyes and take you for all you've got. And now, if you got through all of this with an open mind, which I guess the person did, given that they eliminated the misinformation, you too are informed, and from now on, you'll be able to detect and call BS on this topic from a mile away. Thanks for the opportunity to provide information to all those who will read this. Have a great day. Go team friendship. Because I did offer this in friendship. It wasn't snark. It's like, you think that this is the case? It's not. I like to help. So let me help. And that's the reason sometimes when you see all these troll things, you keep it, why is he answering this? It's not for the troll. It's for the person that's going to stumble upon the information.
And oftentimes...
Yeah, that troll thing. Yeah, support that troll. And then they read it. Oh.
Well, and oftentimes you can have a reasonable exchange of ideas on Twitter because there are some reasonable people. There's a lot of bots. There's a lot of trolls. There's a lot of people who just, men who want to watch the world burn. There's lots of that. But occasionally you can come across somebody who, because, if I ask a question on Twitter, I'm genuine in asking the question and I sincerely want an answer, even if the answer runs counter to what I want to hear. And oftentimes that is the case. But if I'm looking for an answer, I'm going to get it. And hopefully from a reasonable person and not somebody who just wants to scream at me. Mm-hmm. There's lots of those people who want to scream at me.
Oh, I made a mistake.
Oh, no.
It's not a person that thought I was right and removed it. This post is from an account that no longer exists.
Oh.
That is a different thing. So it was a troll account.
Yeah.
And I guess someone reported it.
And
Or
it was deleted and eliminated.
Or this was it existed just for that purpose. And they didn't like the fact that it was so thorough, so they didn't want it to exist anymore in the ether. So they eliminated their account. That sometimes does happen. If they create an account for something and you put too much truth, they'll delete the account to reduce people's access to it, which is why I always thread reader app.
Just put the link and good to go.
Yep, there you go. So, kids, a lot of content today.
A lot. I have more stuff, but we don't have time to go over it. It's a plethora. We have a plethora. I like the word plethora.
Yes,
I like to say the word plethora.
Yes. So we had Skippy's disastrous press conference. We had a blonde white Karen go, "Who? Me? Racist? Just because I can't keep track of every non-federally elected official throughout the entire country. How could I possibly know that nobody else said something about Israel and Palestine who wasn't elected federally? I'm just a blonde lawyer." And the history of housing. My throat is dry.
Coffee is hot.
Because my cup's been empty for a while. Skippy emptied it with the drinking game.
Well, it has a common sense. I need common sense.
So, yes, we had a lot of common sense for here as the Beaver lads. And if you liked it, please fill our cups with more through our Eager Beaver Hydration Fund so we can keep bringing you more common sense.
Yeah, every time you hear Skippy say common sense, take a shot.
Of alcohol.
Yes.
Take a shot of alcohol. Not any other kinds of shots. Or maybe don't take
COVID,
7 shots
flu.
of XBB shots, but don't actually take a shot or a shot.
No. Shot of alcohol.
We're non-violent here.
Shot of whiskey. Although I'm a whiskey sipper, not a shooter. So how about what's the German one? Jager.
Jägermeister.
Jägermeister?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm allergic to that. That's epicac to me. I have a shot of that stuff and everything comes back up within a minute. And I've done it, like, no alcohol, had a meal, about 2 hours later, let's do a shot of Jaeger. I'm like, come on, fine.
Oh.
We'll play the prove it game. I go, it's going to make me sick. No, it won't. 20 minutes later, in the club, running.
Oh.
They're like, I'm so sorry, dude. When I say I'm allergic to something, I'm speaking from a place of experience. So, just have a listen.
I like Cantilla to have every time Skippy says common sense, donate $1 to the Eager Beaver Fund. Get saucy. Every time he says it, I'll take a toke. Oh, woman, you're going to be blitzed. Talk about building up a tolerance. Yee!
I am kind of allergic to everything. It's pretty bad.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know how this guy stays alive, actually. It's like he's got so few things he could put in his body. All right, kids. Whew. Well, I think we have a show, right, Mr. Grizzly?
Yes, we do indeed.
Yeah. All right. Already am blitzed. Yeah. That was beautiful. Okay, kids, we hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show because we enjoyed making this for you. Tell your peeps and poops all about us, please, because your word of mouth is priceless and it means the world to us that you do. Miss Sadeka, thank you for almost making it to 10. Hey, we're not done with the extra yet, so we just might. Because we tend to go off the rails sometimes with the extras.
A little bit.
All right, so please tell your peeps and poops all about us. If you would like to write to us, our email address is truenortheagerbeaver@gmail. So please, if you've got stuff for us, if you want to let us know what you're cooking, because we haven't done the kids who cook thing for a while, but let us know what you're cooking. If you've got some good news to share with us, whatever it is, right? You got some topics or suggestions or things to lead us to, please, or you just want to say hello. Right, we welcome that. So truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please give us stars and reviews. We haven't asked for that in a while, so if you can, that would be great. If you do not like to miss an episode whatsoever, then you scan that QR code, and that will bring you to our pod page, sponsored by the fabulous, the wonderful, the incredibly sexy and smart, the Ray Girl. She also has exceptional taste, if I do say so myself.
Yes, indeed, yes.
Yes. And that will be your way to make sure that you do not miss a single episode when we have something fresh off the bandwidth right into your box will slide. All right. Now, if you would like to, speaking of boxes, if you would like to smash, hey, we're 6 positive on the show.
I'm not saying anything.
See, you learn to say I'm not touching that because I get you when you say that, because I know you touch that. If you would like to, if you would like to keep smashing after we slide into your box, well, then you go to our YouTube, our True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, and there we have not one, not two, but 3 buttons with which you can smash, like, share, subscribe. We're closing in on 450, which means that we would be just 50 away from being able to monetize this baby. So please, I would love that very much if you would. It would make me happy. Make a happy beaver.
Well, and somebody asked.
Ooh. Pardon me.
Sorry about that. I didn't want to cough in your ear, and I missed the mute button. Somebody had said to me last week, they asked me point blank, said, why are you asking for funds? Why do you ask for more subscribers? Why do you? I'm like, well, we do love doing this, but it costs a lot of money, like a lot of money. And we want to earn money at this. I mean, it's no secret. I mean, we do this because we love it, but I mean, the end goal is to turn this into a job.
Do what you love and the money will come. The end goal is not only to this be a job. I would love to reach a point one day where we're an actual employer.
Yes, we want to hire people.
Good benefits.
Yes, we're not in a position to do that right now. I mean, obviously, I think the $300 I've earned off this show in 3 years is probably not going to be able to pay for an employee. Just an observation. But if we, that's the thing. It's like if we can get to a position where we can start to earn some money through the YouTube channel, we can look at hiring people to help us with some of our research, collating things. I can get somebody to help me with production, so I don't have to work 75 hours a week. I could, cut it down to maybe 50 or 60. But you hear what I'm saying. In the end, it's all about trying to give you a good product, and to do so, it takes time and money. And the time I have, the money is what we need. That's what it really boils down to. And I mean, initially I felt bad about asking for money, but really I don't anymore, because we need it just like everybody else. It's how we keep the world rolling. It's how we keep the show rolling. It costs money to do this. It's as simple as that. Okay.
All right.
That's my plea.
Yeah. Oh, my beaver sweetie just let me know that something happened that is really not cool at work. He stayed up late preparing something that he was told needed to be prepared, while other people were preparing something else that was going to be used instead. And he just did all that work for nothing and stayed up very late and sacrificed things he had to do this morning. People, man, let the left hand know what the right hand's doing. Come on. I love you, sweetie. I'm so sorry. The kids are
sometimes these things happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, lots of we love you, Alex, and bye, Alex. Have a wonderful day. They love you. Well, what's not to love? What's not to love? Actually, yesterday, my Beaver sweetie took me out for our anniversary dinner because I took him out on the closer to the day. But yesterday was mine. I made like Beyonce, and I asked him to take me to Red Lobster.
Red Lobster.
All you can eat shrimp, baby.
I'm sure.
if
Never
you-
going to set foot in one.
Yeah, seafood. Yeah, another thing.
Can we bring back the Ponderosa? I like the Ponderosa.
I missed that. That was really good.
The all-you-can-eat salad bar.
Yeah. With extra large sneeze guard, please. Yes. And if you would, so as Mr. Grizzly was saying, for the coffee, I don't know if you gave the link and all of that.
Yeah, it was all there.
Coffee page and all that. So again, and thank you very much to Kit Melanie, Alberta friend, a new donor for us. And Melanie stated, "Thank you so much for your wise insight, clear, truthful, and discerning commentary on all things Canadian/world events affecting all of us. Keep up the good work of giving voice to those of us who may not be able to articulate our thoughts in such a concise manner. Cheers."
Cool.
That is a beautiful compliment.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Melanie, and welcome to the Beaver Lodge. I don't know how long you've been listening, if you're a new listener or you've been there for a while and this is the first time you've wanted to contribute, but very, very grateful. Thank you so very much. And Kits and Cubs, if you'd like to do like Melanie, like I said, Mr. Grizzly taught you how, so we would appreciate that very much. Because democracy is something that you do, get your XBB shots. Please keep our hospitals unclogged. Your flu shots, your pneumococcal shots, your RSV shots, especially if you're over 65. Very, very, very important. And write those letters. All right. And if you live in Ontario and you have registered to vote in the Ontario Liberal leadership race, the votes are this weekend. So don't forget to go. All right. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your eager beaver saying, it could be a tough world out there. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And right there,
Thank God I'm fabulous.
say that to yourself. Because you are, number one, you tune into this show. So obviously you are fabulous. I mean, I may be wholly biased here, but you are fabulous. But yeah, be fabulous. Do something fabulous for yourself. All right?
And remember what Stuart Smalley would say, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me.
They do, Mr. Grizzly. They really do. And they want your wisdom. So please lay it on them.
Oh, wisdom for the day. Well, some days, like yesterday, you can let the rage farming get to you. And I did for a few minutes, but I decided to take a pause and walk away and have a breather, get a cup of coffee, talk to some colleagues, go back to my desk, do some more work while the thing was playing in the background. And what I'm getting down to is, and I've been saying this a lot lately, and I think it's because I've been practicing it a lot lately, and it's making a difference in my life. And again, as I've said time and time again, November is the bleakest month of the year. It's the worst. October's terrible, but it's bookended by Thanksgiving in Canada and Halloween. I wanted to say Easter for some reason. Halloween. So you've got something to look forward to at the start and the end of October. November, we start with basically Remembrance Day, which is not a joyful occasion. A lot of tears are shed on that day. A lot of feelings and emotions are felt. And then the rest of the month, it's dark and dreary and cold, and it gets dark at 4:30, and it's just a miserable time of the year. And then when you have terrible things happening in the world, and you have a shit-given cockwomble that is the leader of the official opposition, spreading misinformation in the House of Commons and then acting like he's done nothing wrong, well, that can, kind of piss you off a little bit, just a tiny little bit. So don't let it get to you. Take a breather, take a few minutes for yourself, do what you need to do to get through it. And when you need to go back to it, go back to it. But take some time for yourself, especially at this strange and bizarre time of the year. And to our American friends, happy Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had. I know yesterday is today a holiday as well? It is a 2-day because Thanksgiving was yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know if the Friday is a statutory or not. I mean, I hope it would be, because why make people come in on Friday?
Yeah. It's like Thursdays. So, and you've eaten a giant feast and probably had a couple of cocktails. Maybe not. I don't know. But Friday would be a good day to rest, or go to a shopping center to make a purchase. Anyway, take some time for yourself, and to our American friends, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you soon.
All right.
Okay, take care.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community and forum, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from fresh farm ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind.
Well, I have something to show you, sir, that I think you're going to like. This is from Mr. Wob Canoe.
Oh, yes, please.
Our government's first piece of legislation will honor Louis Riel for what he has always been, the first premier of Manitoba.
Yeah.
And so I want to send a clear message to everyone that this is certainly a proud day for the Red River Métis and for Métis citizens. But today is meant to be a day of pride for all of us as Manitobans, because this is about acknowledging our true history as one people, as one province, with a shared heritage and one common destiny moving forward into the future.
Oh, yes.
I knew you'd like that.
Absolutely, yes. Hello, Kid Foxy Dragon. Nice to see you coming in. And big congratulations to our para-athletes who so far have 29 medals at the Para-Pan Ams, including 5 gold. So go Team Canada. Have a beeferific weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
All right. Take care. See ya.